himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so Newhoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani not very far apart at all here, but I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order, but Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down it towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot have fun. Yeah, and it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, look at the toss! They haven't got it!
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it! Big Barry!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to the latest round of Premier Endurance League. My name is Scott Rankin. Joining me tonight will be James Parfitt. And just 2 weeks ago, we took to this lovely, lovely circuit for the third round of the GT4 Championship. Tonight, it will be the Australian GT3's chance to take to the circuit. The Petit Le Mans has just finished in terms of the iRacing spec, which means we have very accurate data in terms of how things are running, James. And for me, that Porsche and that brand new Ferrari 296 are very, very tough to beat.
Yeah, they have been since they've come in, to be fair, and that's the thing, isn't it? The Ferrari itself is providing a bit of a beast for people to try and get past. So I think this is going to be an interesting one here, and to be honest, these guys have got 2 hours. We spoke about it last time. It's a long old time. Anything can go wrong. We've got a mixture of cars: Porsche, Ferrari, BMW, Mercedes, Audis, even the Ford as well, as we spoke about the Ford last time out. So it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be exciting. Car-wise, maybe Porsche, maybe Ferrari. I don't know. Maybe we might see the old Ford and Matty Keane might sneak in there as well.
He always talks it up whenever I'm talking to him about, I've got a shot with this thing, just got to keep it off the curbs. Well, if you're going to master road Atlanta, you have to use some curb, and for the GT3 class, that's what it's all about. Porsche struggles over curbs too. The Ferrari has been electric over those curves. Really stable, really balanced, and there's a reason why drivers are swarming to it. This is the all-important Nürburgring conquering beast that Ferrari put out this year. The new car, the new generation, and it's been filled with its success from the real world, JP.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting, really, as well, because I don't think anybody saw this car coming, right? There wasn't much of an announcement, much of a build-up for it, and it just kind of appeared. Now, obviously, last year we had the new Ferrari in before this one, and now they've gone and done it again and given us another one. Do we need it? Probably not. Do we want it? Well, probably a lot of drivers do want the car. So I think it's going to be quite a loved car, maybe, I think, to be fair. Can it tackle the Porsche? Can it go against the opposite, the old favourite of the BMW? Well, people are giving it a go, Scott, and I think that's one of the things that makes it interesting, isn't it? People get hold of a new car, they go, yeah, I love this, and they're off, and that's it. And the Ferrari's always been a good beginner's GT3 car to start with.
That is a very, very important point. It's that rear engine, that mid rear engine style of setup for the car. It's there in place of the McLaren. Very similar car to the McLaren. Unfortunately, the McLaren, a very, very old generation, doesn't have quite the same setup, quite the same settings as are on offer here. That Porsche, by the way, the more that I talk to people, the more I find out about that thing. Its biggest weakness, low downforce tracks. Now, that was last time out at Monza, but it was still there. It was still competitive in some way, shape, or form. It still managed to rise towards the top. Was that the driver's award? You ask the questions, we might answer them, and all the questions might be answered throughout the course of tonight's broadcast. In terms of things, though, tonight here, JP, we've got about a minute and 40 seconds left in terms of our warm-up, though, but it's going to be 2 hours around here. 65% is the fuel capacity of these cars. What does that translate to in terms of laps? 28 laps. We'll be on 2.38 litres a lap for the BMW, which is a fraction of fuel, so very, very tiny amount, which you can probably dab off over the course of maybe 5 laps. 29 laps is 2.3 litres a lap. That's going to take you probably just a lift as you come down the hill, probably for about 15 laps of that 29 lap stint. You can get to 30 laps. That's going to take a bigger lift, and it's going to take a bigger lift probably into turn 1, probably down the hill as well. So fuel saving will be on offer, but this track is known for its close racing and late on the brakes. You've got to have a car that's comfortable on the brakes around here.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, isn't it? You've got that long run out of turn 7 down into 10A. You've got to be looking at making the opportunity. That's probably going to be one of your main opportunities where you are going to get your overtake done. Can you get it off the corners of 12 and 12A? Maybe on that run down into turn 1. But if you go too wide in turn 1, the guy on the inside's got to play nice. If he doesn't play nice, well, that guy on the outside is going to go and visit that grass runoff. I didn't tell you that one, because if you just open up the steering a little bit on the inside, they're going to be contact. He's going to be on the grass on the outside. So if they are going to go too wide in turn 1, they've got to play nice. They've got to be cooperative with each other. Through 2 and 3, probably not a lot's going to happen there as well, because that is just a crazy opportunity to try and make a move. On the rundown out of 5 into 6, well, you've got an opportunity. It depends on how nice the outside curb of 5 wants to be and whether or not you're going to accelerate on it, which is then going to put you spinning round the back end. So, you know, there's opportunities, probably main opportunity down into 10A and 10B.
Well, that was also important to note was what was on the screen just before was Leith McClimate on the way to pit lane. It's a tricky pit lane entry here as well, so that doesn't help factors none. The drivers, though, that won't have to worry about looking out the front of the windscreen and seeing too much when that green flag flies will be Nick Wood, who will take the pole position here from round number 3. He'll be off alongside of Owen Coleman, who's been quick right the way throughout the season. The top 3 cars covered by less than a tenth of a second. It'll be Ben Jeffrey, who won the opening round, I believe, all the way back. When you think back to the Spanish round from Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, off alongside of him on row number 2 will be Trent Allen. Adam Jepson and Andrew Dutch will moke up row number 3 before we move it back to Martin Hallinan and Jackson Pringle, Brandon Grosh, and the first of the Lamborghinis. Never thought I would say Lamborghini coming to Road Atlanta. It is a terrible car to try and set up around here, but that will be John O'Kiley, who's trying to do his best with that one. Matthew Carrick and Adrian Gresh will be off behind them. It'll be Rue Kwistra. I've got some inside info actually on Rue Kwistra's racing background, so we'll be talking about that throughout the race as we progress. Dean Reddit will be off alongside of him. Matthew Skulls and Alan Dawson will be on row number 8 before we'll throw it back to number 9, which is Alfonso Latella and Darren Burgess, Sean Benici, and Mark Foster round out the top 10 rows there, JP.
Jacob Hughes will be on 21st with Dean Hunt there in 22nd. Richard Mayer, Justin Davies behind that. And then we got Matt Keane, Luke McKay in 25th and 26th, Jesse McMinimum in 27th, Christopher Ruddle on 28th, Matthew Norris 29th, Jimmy Middleton down there in 30th. Jamie Stewart, Simon Honey, Hayden Norris, Tim Fuge, Leith McClimate down by the back. Then we've got Ricky Provenzali, Damien Taylor, Joe Vitale, Stefan Mellis and Nigel Siddell will round it off. So we've got 41 cars on track here, Scott. It's 41 cars down into turn 1. Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Well, you're sitting there probably going, 41 cars on the way down to turn 1? Well, that's actually a depleted field. Do you know why, JP? It's Bathurst weekend in Australia.
Well,
there's people up at the mountain all weekend.
Well, to be fair, I would be. Not going to lie, I probably would be up in the mountain as well. I do like Bathurst. I think it's a great circuit. But, look, if we've only got 41, that's fine. But how many of them 41, Scott, do you think are going to finish?
Very good question. And I think you raised a good point. How many cars we got to go down to turn 1? We've got 21 cars to head down to turn 1. Cold tyres and looking after those tyres are going to be a big factor right around here. We're halfway through our warm-up lap. Drivers will be already looking to save fuel, see if they can get that 29th lap of fuel off the get-go. There's a couple of Audis actually in the field as well. Andrew Dutch is one of the drivers that's on board with that one. It's been in the unloved beast of late, that Audi. But we'll see if Dutchy can find some speed out of it. Mercedes, by the way, slowly trending into the background, which will not be Owen Coleman's favourite thing to say. He loves that car.
Yeah, I like.
But such is the. Yeah, but go ahead, JP.
I like the Merc as well. I'm a lover of the Merc. I think you can still battle with it. Still give it a go, should we say? The Audi. Well, for me, the Audi either wanted to kill me or it wanted to give me the fastest lap, and it was never consistent for me, so I couldn't really cope with the Audi, unfortunately. But you know, hey, let's see.
I can feel that behaviour, the two-tone nature of the Ferrari, the Audi, the Lamborghini, and the Porsche. Never my biggest fans in terms of cars either. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've been waiting a while. It's been a while since we've been green here at the Premier Endurance League, but it's going to be Nick Wood to lead us away on lap number 1, and immediately in behind him is going to be That Owen Coleman Mercedes, as he'll try and settle it down into turn number 1. It'll be them from Ben Jeffrey, Trent Allen, and we'll keep our eyes on the MIG pack as well, because the biggest thing we've got to keep our eyes on is, do they survive lap number 1? And for the guys at the front, they all got through nice and clearly. 3 wide on the approach down here to turn 3 at the crest of the hill. And then it's down through the S's. 2 wide through here on the opening lap. Suicide it can be for some of these cars.
Yeah, not an ideal scenario to be going there, but Nick Wood did what Nick Wood needed to do in that BMW. He got out in front, he jumped him off the start, he got him done and said thank you very much. Now through this mid-pack at the moment though, we've got Dean Burgess running side by side here with the Porsche Bruco Istra. He's trying to go up the inside there as well. Dean in that Ford as well. No, get it settled, Dean, get it settled, son. And then he's going off now as well. The twitchy back end of that Ford caused Dean and Burgess a little bit of a problem there, but up front at the moment, Nick Wood, Owen Coleman. Nice little battle here with Brandon Grotch, Matt Carrick, Andrew Grecht and Dean Reddit. So there's good fights all the way through the field early on.
By the way, just for your knowledge, JP, at the start of the season, before the start of the season, when everyone's choosing their cars, I put a $10 bounty out. I said if anyone can win a race in that Ford, $10 yours. I might have to up that to 50 at this rate. Just to see if we can get some more biters. But that's how keen I was to see the Ford back out there and back in action. 2 Fords in the field here tonight. We'll see how they progress and see if somebody can claim that now $50 iRacing bounty for winning a race in the Ford. Unloved. I want to see the Mustang. Cannot wait for next year and seeing the Mustang in action.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good as well. I think the thing is, we as like broadcasters, drivers, whatever you want to categorize us under, because obviously, you know, for me, I don't really drive much, but I think at the end of the day, there's certain cars we want to see. Right, there's certain cars we want to see, and one of them is that, and whether or not we're going to get it, I don't know. Much love TCRs as well. We could do with some new TCRs, iRacing, put it out there while we try.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But we'll see what happens. But there's nice little battles here as well. Davies and Hunt having a battle for this third place in the Challenger class as well. Don't forget we've got Challengers and Elites. The Elites are green on the left-hand side. Challengers are orange, all right? So just in case you think we've just decorated it with pretty colours, they do actually mean something. So we'll see how that one goes on there, Scotty, but at the end of the day, it's been a nice clean start from everybody. No real dramas for anyone, and at the end of the day, they're going to settle in now. 1:57 on the clock, try and save as much fuel as possible, see if they can get that 29th lap.
And this is one of the few tracks on the schedule whereby track position is relevant. You absolutely are not going to go out there, charge through the field from rear to front. It's just not going to happen at Road Atlanta. You do probably, look, you can probably make up 20 places. I'll give them that. You can probably make up 20 places. You'll have to strategize to get yourself in the rear end. And talking of that battle, actually, Justin Davies just tried to shove a nose down the inside of Dean Hunt at turn 1. Didn't quite get there, but these guys are going thick and fast at it in the mid-pack. Porsche, will it do Porsche things? Keep your eyes peeled. We'll keep our eyes in the middle of that race. Yeah, I can already hear you, JP. You're like, I can't drive this thing. It's not for me.
No, dude, that's the thing. It just does Porsche things. It's got the reputation of doing Porsche things. You can do the same thing in it for 50 laps, and you go and do the same thing on the 51st lap, and you're in the wall. And you're like, how? How did I do that? I've done that same braking point, that same turning point, that same thing for 50 laps. Why is it wanting to kill me on lap 51? It's kind of like all of a sudden it just goes around and goes, no, son, no. You think you're good, but it ain't happening. So there we go. But nice little battle up front. Nick Wood, Owen Coleman going at it.
Well, you said the Porsche. Testing for Petit Le Mans, I was given 2 car options. So a Lamborghini or BMW. I can guarantee you we didn't do it in the Lamborghini. We spent a good 4 hours trying to get that thing to hook up around here. Did not happen. So for anyone out there in the Lamborghini, John O'Kiley, I'm looking at you and I'm sitting there and I'm saying good luck to you, sir. Hopefully you've done a better job than we managed to do. In terms of things, I think it's that tyre temperature with the Porsche. Lamborghini and Audi, it's that rear tyre temperature. They put more force through the rear tyres. And with the curbing here tonight, with Petit Le Mans in the background of our sim racing careers, those curbs at turn 5 are going to be an issue. Speaking of curbs at turn 5, I just watched Jackson Pringle. Sorry, that was Martin Hallinan. My apologies. Martin Hallinan just crawl up and over those curbs a fraction sideways. Guess who snuck down the inside? It was John O'Kiley. Or was it Brendan Grosh, actually?
No,
it was
John
the BMW.
O'Kiley.
No, it was actually Martin Hallinan. Got down there and over the curbs, and Kylie's nicked that spot from him.
Yeah, I think Luke McKay's had a little bit of a drama as well here as well. So Luke McKay has caused a drama for himself going through. Oh, coming off the last off the last corner there as well. Luke McKay just gone and put it in the wall. So unfortunately for him, not an ideal scenario for Luke McKay, but yeah, overall, not bad racing so far.
Was that coming to the start of the current lap too? So that was,
he was
not
coming
too
around
long
the
ago.
final.
Tyres would be up to temperature by then.
Yeah, I think it's just one of them things that happens, unfortunately, as, you know, it's easy to get loose coming out of that corner. You can come off the top of the hill and you can accelerate the car and the back end just decides that it doesn't want to go there. And then you've got yourself a problem. And that's the thing. I think he had a problem at the moment on the top of the hill. I don't think it was at that impact point where he actually hit it, but I think the problem probably started a little bit further back when he was starting to get on the acceleration coming down the hillside. So, you know, I think it's going to be an interesting one. They've got to try and deal with that turn 12 in quite a interesting way, because the back end does like to get loose at times coming out there, especially when you hit the bump. And for Luke McKay, I think he just hit that on the accelerator. The car just started going. He tried to throttle out of it, and unfortunately that's where he ended up.
I wonder whether or not he's dipped the rear tyres on the left-hand side into the grass as well, whether or not that's had something to do with it. Too much, we'll never know. But yeah, that BMW has been the more stable car this week, as has been the Ferrari. Now, who's got the real straight line speed? Well, it looks like Martin Hallinan didn't get quite the drive he was looking for up off of turn 7, but he's got the drive he needs. What is the performance like under brakes? Pretty even, and that's going to go around the outside for Brennan Grosch. Becomes the inside at 10B. Gets the job done at the outside at 10A, job done at 10B. Great job.
Yeah, great manoeuvre there as well. It's always going to be a hard one when you're trying to go through there too wide. If Martin Hallinan's if he's not going to try and lock up that inside line or try and get back on the racing line here, he is going to go down faster than me in McDonald's. I can tell you that much, because my burgers don't last long. And at the moment, this Hallinan's 11th position is not going to last long if he doesn't get a move on, because Gretsch is now coming. He's been pushed out by Grosch. He's been pushed out by Garrick. If he was a school child, he has just been bullied. He's lost his lunch money, his school money, and his laces in his shoes, and now he's got to go home and explain to his mum why he hasn't got any laces. But for Hallinan, he's got to get back on it here, Scotty, because at the end of the day, Gretsch is coming, Dawson's coming, and Reddit's coming, so he needs to get stabilised.
Well, talk about tyres. I'm wondering whether or not he's cooked his tyres. Just put too much force through them earlier in the race. I mean, sim time, it's 20 to 5 p.m. in the afternoon. So the track is a lovely 26 degrees Celsius. Reasonably cool track at the moment, but grip levels will continue to climb throughout the evening as more rubber goes down and that sim temperature comes down a little bit. I'm wondering whether or not he was expecting a fraction more grip out of this car. And the problem for those BMWs, after lots of testing, BMW, by the way, was the car we ran yesterday, they burned through their tyres. Within an hour, we were under 50% on the tyres quite regularly. It took us some tinkering and some driving adjustments to get that thing not under 50% on the tyres after an hour's worth of driving. So tyres will be critical. I get the feeling, JP, that it might be tyres at both of the stops here tonight. And in actual fact, I think we're at risk of actually being a splash and dash at the end too.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how they're going to play this, to be fair. I'd be, the worst thing that they want to do is splash and dash, right? We talk about it and they say at the end of the day, you want to try and avoid a splash and dash at the end because it can put you in a horrible position. And for these guys, it can put them in that horrible position. But they've got to try and work out a way. If tyre wear is as fearsome as we're saying it is, and you would know, you drove Petit Le Mans, I didn't, I was on the beach. So, you know, you'll know more about it than I will on that one. But if it is, they've got to weigh up whether or not it's worth trying a double stint. Can they do it on the cooler temperature at 27? Or do we think that they're going to have to go tyres every stop? Now, well, let's see how they get on. It's all about what they're going to manage here as well, because if you don't take tyres, you take a risk of sliding harder than Bambi on ice, I can tell you that much. And if you do take tyres, you've got a risk of losing positions due to the longer pit stop. So it's all going to be hit or miss at the moment here, Scotty. It's going to be interesting to see how these guys play this out. But I can tell you what, Burgess and Latella and also Hunt here for the battle in the AM lead is going to be quite an exciting one, because they're not too far apart from each other at all.
Yeah, and Burgess as well in that lovely, lovely Ford GT. Look, I love the Ford. Don't get me wrong, I love the Ford GT as well. Was a big fan of the car when it debuted. Unfortunately, that car is well past its prime in terms of both raceability. He's clambering over the curbs, and they said that it was going to be a big issue for this Ford, but he seems to be handling that car quite okay. So for Darren Burgess, it's progress up the field, or at least hanging on to his position in the field at the moment. The big factor out of this Ford, though, is its straight line speed. Just watch this thing. I had some friends, by the way, slapped together, ran another Australian GT3 series at Le Mans. They said, you know what? We're going to have a crack in this Ford. Why not? Let's just do something funky, something that other people won't do. Trimmed the thing down as far as they possibly could. Was the quickest car in a straight line by some 20 kph at Le Mans. So it handled like a dog through the Porsche curves, but if set up appropriately, the thing can absolutely make passes in a straight line.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because, as we say, it's a very outdated car, right? We've got the new Ferrari, we've got the new Porsche, and, you know, the Ford is literally left behind on the standing lines. It is still there, but I do wonder if somebody like Owen Coleman or somebody fast in a GT3 got a hold of it, what they would be able to do with it, whether or not they could get it set up just right. Whether or not they could get it moving. I'm not saying Darren Burgess here is bad at setting up cars, or Matty Keane. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that at the end of the day, in the hands of somebody, could it be a good car? And I don't know. I've never driven it. It always looks good.
Think so.
Well, you don't know that, Scotty. Come on, be a little bit more, bit more positive.
I'll put it to you this way. You take Matt Keane out of the Ford, he's probably in this front fight. That's my observation and my understanding of his driving abilities.
Right.
So take from that what you will. It's not as if I want the Ford to do badly. I really want this Ford to succeed. It's old tech. It's old hat. The biggest issue for it, JP, is twofold. A is the curbs and its ability to handle the curbs and keep the tyres underneath it. But the second phase of it is it's got a dead spot in the centre of the steering where there's just no force feedback, which is a really bad thing for a driver. Yeah,
well, no force feedback in general is horrendous for anyone, isn't it, really? Let's be real. My iRacing career started on a steering wheel that had no force feedback. John O'Kiley there's just taken a nice little trip off the grass in turn one, unfortunately for Jono, and he has just gone off the side of the circuit, that Lamborghini, and he's probably just about held it. Is he? Yes, he is. He managed to survive, but unfortunately for John O'Kiley there, it's lost him some positions. He's now down in 14th. Nice little bow in the middle of the field. It's got a 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, all sitting quite close to get where they were.
Well, you had to talk about them, didn't you? You brought them up, and immediately it just all kicked off, and now it's just going to be sitting there static and unfortunately just waiting for Adrian Gretsch. And I believe it was Alan Dawson was the other car that's actually involved when they get down here to turn 7. So looks for the crossover and gets down the inside and misses the braking point. He's very wide at the at the turn-in point, isn't he?
Yeah, the problem is Dawson left the door open. And, you know, it was an opportunity to have a go, and he tried. And unfortunately, Dawson either didn't see him there, and Gretsch, unfortunately, went up to go up the inside. The gap wasn't there. He looked like it was there. It's that vortex that we talk about, Scotty, that vortex of terror when you go into the corner. You know, you don't want to be leaving that V shape open because it does encourage people to dive in. And then you end up losing exactly that situation for Adrian Gretsch. So, you know, we'll have to see what Gretsch can do now. He's got to come all the way back through the field. It's going to be tough. It always is when something like that happens, puts you out in the mid-pack. So keep an eye on Gretsch, but it is going to be a tough one for him, I think, here as well.
Give you an update, secondary contact from that incident as well. We were just talking about Darren Burgess and that Ford. Unfortunately for Darren Burgess, he copped a big old whack to the rear of the car, and it looks like it's knocked the toe out of alignment on his right rear. So he's had to come for a trip down pit lane, and that looks like that's a fast repair in the hole. And Ford drivers, one thing they don't want is to be a fast repair in the hole. Who is that ahead of him, and what are they driving?
That is Luke McKay in the Ferrari. Now, we saw Luke go off round turn 12 earlier on, and clearly he's not affected by the fact that he's got no bumper.
I would say he is affected by the fact he has no bumper, but it's debatable.
The steering's working. He's just found a new way of cooling the engine. I don't know. Maybe he
That's
doesn't
the basis of a
realise.
race car, isn't it?
Well, you
The
would have
steering and the throttle's working.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you need, isn't it? You know, look at a go-kart. You know, steering, throttle, that's all you got. But clearly for Luke McKay, he either doesn't know it's missing there, Scotty, or he just sits there and thinks, nah, I'm going to keep going. So, fair play.
I would say the opposite, JT. I think he's in a strategy hole and he recognises that my only goal is to get to that pit window opening. If I pit now, race effectively over without a safety car. So he's just trying to keep his options open. In the meantime, back into our top 5. Andrew Dutch is up 1 spot since the start of the race, and Andrew Dutch is looking to attack the rear bumper of that new Ferrari. God, that Ferrari sounds nice. That was the first thing I noticed about it at the moment. Just listen to that engine. Just following one, you feel like you're in rear air.
Yeah, I think... Sorry, I'll stop talking for a second now. Still not as good as the Mercedes. Still not as good as the Merc.
Ooh.
I don't care. It's not, Scotty. It's not. The Merc is just the... It just at you. And, you know, you can just hear it.
It's yelling at you to drive it faster the whole time.
Push me. Push me. Push me. And he's just... That's it for me.
I will say, I think it's an improvement, that Ferrari engine, on the previous generation. I think it's a step up from the 488 GT3 Evo.
Yeah, I think, you know, they probably recognise that was some things out of whack with it as such, but at the end of the day, they've done what they can do with it, right? And you know, they've done this, they've got it all sorted out, they've set it all out, they've got the sounds going. You know, fair play to them for having a go, I suppose.
Do you remember probably about 18 months ago, it might have even been longer than that, it was before they put the Evo package out for that Ferrari. They actually, iRacing ended up putting out a patch whereby the Ferrari was taking longer to shift from a spectator view. So effectively what was happening was you had a whole bunch of Ferraris running along, bouncing off the limiter. It was the ugliest sound I've ever heard in sim racing.
Oh, that was a pity, man. I think that was Gretsch. Gretsch has decided that enough's enough. He's gone in. Gretsch, of course, caught up in that incident coming out of turn 7. So
it's a penalty. Sorry, but that is a penalty.
Yeah, it's got to be either that or he's just decided that he wants to pit early. But Hayden Norris here is going to have a little bit of a trouble with Tim Fuge. Don't forget, they are challengers and elite. So Hayden Norris here in the green, which makes him elite. Tim Fuge in the challengers. So he's going to have to see how he gets on. We've got Mark Foster in the McLaren there as well. One of the actual, I think he's the actual only McLaren in the field. So fair play to Mark, giving it a good old go. You know, push it out. If you're comfortable in the car, why not? Up front now, you've got Ben, Jeffrey, Trent Allen, Andrew Dutch and Adam Jepson all fighting it out. Different manufacturers, of course. We've got the Ferrari, the Audi, the BMW and the Merc. So 4 manufacturers battling it out here. Who's going to come out on top, Scotty? Well, we've got an hour and 40 remaining, so let's see what happens. Andrew SLM in YouTube chat, the Lambo sounds the best.
Debatable.
No. Sorry, sir, it doesn't. You can't. I would show you the Lambo sounds, but I don't know where is he at the moment. John O'Kiley. He's down in the middle of the pack, but we'll concentrate on this front pack. Maybe we'll have a listen to it earlier, but give me the Merc all day, baby. I'm afraid if I'm going to have a lullaby before I go to sleep, it's the Merc's engine noises sending me off, I can tell you that much.
Oh, see, that'd keep me awake. Now you've bothered me. Oh, that...
There you go.
I suppose at the end of the day, we're all race car fans, aren't we? That's what we're getting out of this. You had the opportunity to participate in some real-world commentary duties as a part of a GT3 series out of Thailand. The biggest thing you saw out of the support categories is it's just Honda CRZ, just those smaller category compact style cars. And the biggest thing right the world over, it doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter where it's going, doesn't matter what the speeds are like. We're in a rare culture whereby you just celebrate cars the world over. Yeah.
I think that's the thing. It doesn't matter what I'm commentating on. Like, you know, I've done Clios, I've done go-karting, done GT3s, you know, all the things for all the cars, pretty much all the cars within iRacing, NASCARs, everything. And they all still get you excited regardless. You know, I did a NASCAR race in iRacing the other day at Charlotte Roval. Don't get me wrong, the most horriblest track ever, and not many people even loved it. But there was a massive pile-up in Turn 1, and it was just like, oh, it's just the racing. I don't think it's too much of the cars. We can just get excited about what we do and what racing we're watching. And I think that's the thing that people don't understand. And, yeah, well, it's definitely an interesting, exciting times within racing anyway, to be honest as well, Scotty. And I think this could be an absolute banger of a race. However, Coleman is opening up the gaps at the front.
Well, more importantly than that, Owen Coleman's got the job done and has now started to skip clear. So we've lost that. By the way, updates coming out of everything that was confirmed. That was a penalty for Adrian Gretsch. Was a drive-through penalty issued or contact with car 062.
Yeah.
And since then, there has been a penalty for Dean Hunt, which was the contact with the rear bumper of the SLM Ford, and that was the Burgess car it was making contact with. So 2 drive-through penalties, and Dean Hunt, I did actually just watch him come back out on track as well. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, run through your top 10. It is Owen Coleman from Nick Wood. What has been a swap for the lead. Ben Jeffrey in P3 and Trent Allen both where they started. Andrew Dutch is up 1 spot from 6th place on the grid into 5th. And he's gotten past Adam Jepson was the driver, and now he looks to crawl all over the rear bumper of Trent Allen. That battle is going to continue to be quite good as well. Jackson Pringle, Brandon Grosh, Matt Carrick, and Martin Hallinan round out your top 10. And Hallinan's recovered now. Talking of Martin Hallinan, he's managed to hang on to a couple spots. Since Carrick has got through, he's starting to stabilise. He's not falling like a rock anymore, which for me says that this thing's looking after its tyres maybe a little bit better.
Well, for Martin Allen, he had to, Scott, he had to settle down a little bit. He lost 2 places, you know, and the places were coming thick and fast. It wasn't like he lost them over a period of time. He lost them within about 2 corners. So for Allen there, that panic set in, that, oh my God, I'm going. And then he had to try and do something. He's now settled it a bit down. He's still down 3 on where he started on the grid, which for him, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. He's still in the top 10, but he has got Reddit and Scholes climbing all over the back of him, so he's gonna have to be careful. They've now hit the draft of the long straight down from 7 to 10. Don't worry, there is 3 corners in the middle. They class them as corners. We really don't. So we can count. We haven't missed out 8 and 9, honestly, but for Hanlon, he's just had to settle down. He's had to get the car back. He's had to just get hold of it again, calm his nerves and say, thank you very much, I can do this. And he is doing a great job. One man that is doing a great job in the Audi at the moment is Andrew Dutch, but he has got the Merc of Jackson Pringle right up behind him currently.
Yeah, he's defending off, and an update on that Martin Hallinan story as well. He's just taken half a second on the last 2 laps back out of Matt Carrick, so he is starting to respond in that battle. Dean Reddit in behind is sticking with him, so we will move our way a little bit further up the field and keep our eyes on this battle. And Jepson's actually gotten past Dutch, so the BMW, a couple of the BMWs up and down the field starting to respond in terms of tyres. Perhaps it's a specific spot in the fuel tank. We're about halfway through our 65% fuel limited tanks with BMWs. Maximum tank capacity is 66.9 litres here tonight. Remember, we were talking about 28 to 29 laps. We are 18 laps into this race. I think this first stint we will only get the 28 laps in out of the tank. And for the meantime, here comes Jackson Pringle, displaying that outright straight line speed that Mercedes is favoured for, and the lack thereof of the Audi. Gets down the inside the braking zone, and Dutch was on the ascendancy for the first phase of this race. He's now on the back foot, and Trent Allen's also on the back foot ahead because Jepson has gone by Allen as well. So BMW's starting to come to the fore. Does that mean that we're going to see Nick Wood start to come back at Coleman? And indeed, Wood has actually closed that gap down.
Yeah, he has. He's dropped it down below a second briefly, and now he's back above a second again. But the BMWs there just done a great job. You saw Trent Allen and Jackson Pringle and Jepson and Dutch there fighting it out. Now they lost places coming into 10A. Trent Allen lost a place to Jepson coming into 10A. Dutch lost a place to Pringle coming into 10A. So it is looking like 10A probably, or the chicane, whichever one you want to call it at the end of the long straight, is looking like the prime overtaking spot. Now for Wood, he's got to try and get hold of Coleman. He got it down below a second now, Scotty, but now we're back out over that second mark here as well. So maybe the BMWs are coming in, but whatever they're going to do, they haven't got long before they start getting into this pit stop cycle.
Well, I'll tell you what, it looks like it was a mistake in Sector 2 on that lap, which Sector 2 would be up around Turn 3 and the S's, so at the crest of the hill. So maybe in a fraction deep, maybe in a fraction light on the current lap for Nick Wood. Seems to be where he's lost the time. He's matched just about everywhere else on the current lap, and it's been 0.2 of a second on the previous laps. Or the previous 2 laps prior to that was 0.2. So he was pulling time out and is starting to respond. It'll be interesting to see how this progresses. And we're probably only about 10 to 15 minutes away from this pit stop. Fuel mileage with 100% tanks in these cars, about 56 minutes. Well, 65% of that going to be right on and around that 40-minute marker, and that is the marker to get home on the 2 stop. No safety cars thus far. If you'd have said a race to me that you would have guaranteed a safety car, I would have said straight away, I think probably Road Atlanta.
Yeah, but we managed to get away. That incident down here in the corner that happened exactly here with Gretchen out as well, it managed to clear quite quickly, so there was no need for it. There was no need for a tow. Tim Fuge is, I
think Adrian Gretsch, somebody... We just lost someone. It was Tim Fuge. You were right. It was Tim Fuge.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what he did either. He come out of the pits and then just kind of...
Hardware failure?
I don't know, to be honest, Scotty.
Prior to his pit stop, there's contact on the right rear corner of that car.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused why all of a sudden he would disappear, but you can see here Coleman has kind of responded a little bit over Wood, so we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, it's I'm a bit confused by that. I'm not going to lie there for Tim Fuge.
So I found it. It was a mistake coming off of turn 1 on lap 18. Got a big old drift on. Ended up in a big old slap into the inside barrier, both at the front right and rear right. And
yeah, he's already gone at that point. I think it's here.
Yeah, he has. It was. You've just missed it.
Yeah, he does go off here as well. This is coming into turn 6.
Yeah, see, the car's already damaged at that point. It's already happened.
Yeah.
He's just trying to hang on to it, get it back to the lane. He spent the whole of this lap, by the way, that lap that we just saw the tail end of, dodging cars through the S's and running off track through the S's. So it was quite heavy damage for Tim Fuge, and he will become the first retiree out of this race. And I get the feeling Damien Taylor has been through the lane for a pit stop. We've got a slow car on the back straight, by the way, on the most recent lap. It was Chris Ruddle. And I don't know what's happened to him, but I think we've also just lost Hayden Norris. Hayden Norris has left the server, but I don't see his name entered.
Norris did this.
So he might be okay here.
This is turn 1 for... Oh. He doesn't have massive amounts of contact with the wall there.
But there's 2 big issues with that piece of contact. Number 1, it is on the front end of that Porsche, and that is going to require a pit stop. And number 2, that is a pit stop out of sequence that very, very likely would have put him off the lead lap, and that would have been race done. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, what can happen with the Porsches. In essence, I think they're overheating the rear tyres, JP.
Yeah, they're going to have to take it a little bit more easy. We're on lap 22. They've got an hour and 30 on the clock. You know, just settle down, guys, innit? Take it in. Jimmy Middleton here was having a nice little battle just a minute ago with Dean Burgess, so that's why we're looking at Jimmy. It was... battling away with Burgess, but Burgess has kind of said, well, thanks, Jimmy, for the company, but I'm off, son. So, unfortunately for Burgess, he's gone now. So, we'll have to get back up to Martin Hanlon, who's fighting away with Dean at Reddit. Yeah, I think the thing is, Scott, as well, they have got 2 hours. Just chill. Move it up slowly, play it nice, treat it like a lady, give it a bit of a cuddle, relax it going into corners, fuel save if you need to. You've got to eliminate that third stop if you can as well. They are going to be going about 40 minutes, give or take. So 40, 80 puts them into an hour and 20. It's going to be a tight one. So they're going to have to sit back and kind of work on what they're going to do in the car. This is the stage now. They sit there and go, where am I on fuel? Where am I on tyres? Where am I on this? Get everything set up. It's all about eliminating a splash and dash if they even have to, but they don't want to. So they've got to try and work on where they're going to settle the car down now, Scotty. Get it in, find out where you are on fuel, see what you can do with it. Play a game. You can't just, sit back and relax and go, yeah, I'm Martin Hanlon, I'm in 9th. Yeah, you are, but you've got Reddit, Scholes and Carrick closing on you as well. So they've got to start looking around, seeing what they're going to be doing here, because I could tell you what, it's not going to be an easy 90 minutes that they've got left.
So, just talking to Jimmy Middleton, I just went and checked in on his screen. He's having dramas at the moment. So he's just said he's had a screen go black at one point, and he's managed to survive and pop out the other side, which is always good. I also think he just said I loaded the wrong setup into the car. One of the downsides, JP, and you'll know this, is the difference between real world and sim racing is one wrong click and you're in maybe a Road America setup instead of a Road Atlanta setup.
Oh.
You can't do that in real world racing.
Oh. Team Reddit, Martin Hanlon had a little bit of a contact there as well. I don't know if Dean Reddit used the push to pass button, but he certainly didn't use it nicely here as well. You can see them coming up under the bridge. Hanlon gets a little bit of a slide on. Reddit really got nowhere to go, and unfortunately for Martin Hanlon, he ended up off the side there, Scotty. So, yeah, tough job there as well for Martin Hanlon. He's now, well, gone down the order like a rock. So, yeah, tough job there as well. You know, push to pass with D-Reddit, it's always tough following a car, Scotty, right, that loses the back end, because the first thing we do when we lose the back end coming out of a corner is we either lift to try and get it straight again, or we try and dab the brake to correct it. And if Hanlon's dabbed the brake, he's obviously got a very less speed than Reddit. So Reddit's really got nowhere to go. So, yeah, that's a tough one to determine there as well, isn't it, really, I think, on that one. But I would go no further action, racing incident, because Hanlon was already on the slide out.
Well, they normally say chase the back end. Wherever the back end of their car's going, chase that. Particularly becomes even more so important for cars that don't have ABS. Oh, sorry, that have ABS, because they can't lock the rear wheels up, because the car's always going to keep trying to roll forward where it can. So, anyway, that's generally the bit of advice I got given. Apparently, I've always done that. Just didn't think that there was an actual rule to it. But that's what my instincts have normally told me what to do. Anyway, having a look up and down the field, ladies and gents, who's in an interesting battle at the moment? Rick Huistra has just been to the pit lane in his Porsche. He's on an outlap at the current point in time. 30 minutes into the race. That's a two-stopper, sorry. A three-stopper, that will be a three-stopper. And Richard Mayr's the same. There's another Porsche coming in as well, which is Jamie Stewart. Surely not. Surely not. Surely it's not tyre wear. Well, I'm going to go back and have a look at Rue's pit stop. So I'll bear with me, JP. I'm going to do some research, see what I come up with. That's maximum distance. If everyone's in, it's maximum distance. There's no questioning about it. So it will be a three-stopper. That solves the question. Like I said, I think it's right on the money. We're 25 laps into this. For the BMW, I think it's got the ability to go. I think we're just seeing some of the differential of the cars. The BMW did receive quite a hefty trim to its fuel tank, by the way, for the Petite Le Mans, and I think that might be the case. I think it's just, and that's unfortunately for Alex K. That's his car just in front of our race leaders. Just did a check through of the 4 pit stop guys that have done a full green flag pit stop and not an unscheduled one thus far. 3 of the 4 of them all were Porsches. 3 of the 4 of them took tyres. The only one who didn't take tyres out of a lot of them was Jamie Stewart. So we'll see how that goes. Both Chris Riddle and wasn't Chris Riddle. It wasn't Chris Riddle. It was the car that was in and around Rukaristra, which would have been, wasn't Darren Burgess. There was another Porsche in and around there. Did take tyres, and it was just the one of Jamie Stewart who did not take tyres. So I'm expecting probably tyres at every stop, JP. Yeah, well, like I said, 28. The problem for me was 28. You can do 29, but 28 plus a formation lap is far. 29 plus a formation lap is a big ask. So I think they may be able to get 29 out of this next run right here, which will be quite critical. If they can do that, they're on the fringes of making it into a 2-stopper. But what have you got to lose? A pit stop, a splash and dash pit stop is probably worth about 25, 30 seconds worth on the track. So if you're going to lose that amount of time anyway, if you lose less than 30 seconds with the fuel saving that you can do, that's a net gain. So that will be the target for a number of these drivers. He's lost ground in that pit cycle. Ben Jeffries made a ton of ground. Tyres. Yeah, but if Coleman's got... It will be worth about 2 seconds to get these tyres up to temperature, and Coleman's about halfway through that cycle at the moment. So Coleman's absolutely at a very, very slow pit lane entry. So that says, not in the lane. I reckon the remainder of that time has been made up in the pit lane transition. And for Ben Jeffrey pit the earliest of a lot of them. He's on the warmest tyres at the moment. So here he comes. That's why he's going to get racy, because if he doesn't get this job done on Owen Coleman by the end of this lap, I reckon Coleman's going to disappear again. And the Ford... Burgess Ford is stuck at the moment. I've just heard a request for tow from that one. With a rear wing ripped off, mind you. Is that a fuel? And probably 2 broken wrists with how quickly you snap that wheel to the left. Oh no! Oh no! As well, right? BMWs too, yeah. Is that Dean Reddit? I reckon that's Dean Reddit. Good news is when that happens, the hardware tends to let go and not grab your wrist. So it tends to, well, I mean, there's a risk. It depends how they let go on the firmware update, but that's a bit like a win. Oh my God, we've got two cars heavily in the barrier at 10A and 10B, and it's Nigel Siedel's one of them, and I didn't see who the other was. It was Adam Jepson. Did G just attempt to deliver a parcel outside of his postcode delivery range? Nothing you could have done. Well, good luck catching me, says the old tech. I'm going to disappear down the road and try and hang on to this spot. And here comes the problem for Ricky Provenzali. Can he get this thing pulled up? Newer generation GT3 brakes tend to be superior, and superior they have been. Oh, hang on, we're coming up on a Matthew Carrick stuck on the right-hand side. Driver's right of the track as they come out of 10B and Matthew Carrick. So I'm starting to wonder whether or not the guys who took tyres in these Porsches on that first stop were correct. And we're starting to see Porsches do Porsche thing. Track temps just come down 1 degree, so not a massive change, and not a change that should be making the Porsches drive that way. More evidence. I I mean, it takes a pro to handle it. The reason why they're so successful right the world over is because they're at the wheels of pros. And close are these drivers, but pros they are not.
No, none of it. Let's be real. But they're doing the best that they can do, and they do it so well that they're having a go, aren't they? But if you stuck a pro in an iRacing Porsche, would it eventually do the same thing to him?
Well, maybe. Who knows? I mean, he might be used to it. I realistically, I'm going to sit here and say I think this is just a product of the iRacing tyre model, really, and the way the car drives. I just think, you know, if the tyre model wasn't based so exclusively around heat, I don't think it'd be as big of a problem. I think we had a slightly better time. You know, limitations of the sim. People have this argument with me all the time, JP, and you're probably going to be another one here in a few moments. But it's a limitations thing. We're operating on hardware or on software effectively built from 2008. Have they done a great job with it? Yes, they've got some absolutely great longevity out of it. We've got some great racing out of it. Is it time for an upgrade? Yes, absolutely it is. When will we see that upgrade? Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
The difference is, right, I don't disagree with you. The rain hasn't come because the engine can't
needs
handle.
an upgrade.
Yeah, the engine can't handle it. The engine cannot give you that realism depiction that they want it to do. They've got to go over. It's going to be a massive update, but they have got to go over to the likes of Unreal or use a different engine altogether. Yeah, this 2008 engine cannot handle rain. And it's not, that's why we've not got it. But I wish they'd just come out and say it, Scotty. Just say that we can't do it. We've got to...
They absolutely can't, though.
They can't, and everybody knows it, but they keep coming out teasing little things as well, pictures of rain puddles and this. Unless they're going to go and spend on an Unreal Engine upgrade, it ain't going to be able to do it.
See, the difference is, I don't know if you were watching all of the pulling back the curtains over the last sort of 12 days or so from Starfield. Starfield actually had a big pullback of the curtain whereby it's something that game design companies have been doing for a number of years, whereby the rain only operates within the camera feed. And unfortunately for Starfield, their camera view is wide enough on some monitors that you can see the areas where the rain isn't falling. It's centered on the player character, not on where the camera's looking. Whereas that's the optimization, right? You go to PlayStation. Why do consoles still manage to keep up with PCs in terms of their ability to render games? Is because they're renderless. Straight and simply, that's what it is, right? With a sim like this, the sim has to at all times render the entire track. That's the difference, because you can't not render a bit of the track, because then you lose the cars that are on that. It's not as if we're down here at, where are we at the moment? We're going through the S's. It's not as if at the moment you can't render 10A and 10B. You do that, tracks fall through, cars at that end of the circuit fall through the floor. So that's the difference. That's the difference in tech that iRacing have to deal with. Am I saying that iRacing are doing a bad job? Am I saying these things because I don't believe in the game? No, I'm saying them because I'm a fan. Yeah. Right? And that's the difference about the conversation. iRacing will sit here and bang on. Oh, you can't say that, can't say that. I'm saying this because I'm passionate, because I care about the game, because I care about the platform, right? But that is a limitation of the sim. It's a limitation we've got. And
I agree. Nathan Allen's made an interesting point. If iRacing go to Unreal, iRacing will die. Why? Give me a reason why. Their engine needs an upgrade, and it is, as Scotty said, I'm not doing it, and
it's done a great job.
It's done a great job since 2008. We're not bashing it. What we're saying is it needs an upgrade, and it will start needing an upgrade soon, because you've got the likes of Rensport coming out giving them grief. ACC are updating constantly at the same time. R-Factor pulling out more and more content, more and more upgrades coming. They've just updated a new thing as well. Race Room, different game, different sim, they're still upgrading. iRacing have got to look at trying to do something, and it's not, this is my full-time job. This is what I do for a living here within iRacing as well. So I love the game, I love the sim, I love everything about it, but it's got limitations, and they need to look at whether or not they're going to pull an engine upgrade on it, because that is where the limitation is for the rain. It's not the fact that the rain, they can't produce it. This engine cannot produce it in the way that they want here as well, as we just see Dean Reddit there pass. I believe that's one. No, Dean Reddit just got passed by Jepson. So if they upgrade, people will be forced to upgrade the PCs to handle it. Is that
like the Porsche? It's got limitations.
Mate,
it's limited in that rear end.
We upgrade Porsche, I upgrade PC parts probably yearly, maybe 2 yearly, because I have to. But you can't determine the future of a sim that will die if it doesn't upgrade just because of people's PCs.
Could you imagine how pretty this thing would be to race if it was an upgraded engine?
Yeah.
We wouldn't even be having this debate. You wouldn't have to spend $6,000-$7,000 on a PC just so you can display things at the right level. You'd be able to do it with lower red. Keeping an eye up and down the field, and that is the difference, right? Rise ACC able to do Rain, newer gen. That's simply it. Why have we gotten so many performance enhancements over the last 18 months since they announced Rain? Because they have to make Rain work. That's why. Think about that. Put that in the pipe and smoke it. Think about it. Chew on that for another half an hour, and we'll come back to that one maybe at a later date. In the meantime, how is this race progressing? Because we're halfway through this second fuel stint, and another tow has just been requested and granted by race control. Remember how I said that there was one car that hadn't taken its tyres at that pit stop? This is why for Jamie Stewart.
Yeah, straight into the wall. Straight into the wall for Jamie Stewart. But where did he do it? Down off the curb of 5. There you go.
Yep.
And that's exactly what we said about as well. Come away from the curb of 5. Also, we've got this with Nigel Siddell. He's gone and done something in his BMW that he's had to request as well, because he's jumped straight back to the pit. So he's gone round. Does he stay out the wall? Okay, I think
he's trapped in an awkward location.
You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So. Yeah, but it's kind of getting interesting now. We're seeing people making a little bit more mistakes. We're seeing people slide. We've got Pringle here under attack from Grotch, who should get him down this straight, to be honest. So there you go. I don't think it will die. It will lose people, but that's what's going to happen. Well, yeah. You can't hold it back based off people's hardware. That's a crazy thought.
I would say it comes down to, if we get any sort of a direct competitor for iRacing, they're in trouble, is what it boils down to. But they don't have that at the moment. They have sideways competitors. You have a direct GT3 competitor. You don't have a direct NASCAR competitor. You don't have a direct Formula 1 competitor for what is offered here, and they don't try and compete with the Formula 1 games for a very specific reason. They don't want to compete with them. There's no reason. iRacing wins nothing by competing with those platforms. So
they can't.
They provide enough content to keep us going, and that's good enough. They can't. You can't compete.
They can't compete with F123. F123 got the license for all the cars all the way through. We've got a W13. You can't even run a series with the old BMW and McLaren because there's such a big difference in pace and speed. You can't even run them as a multi-class. Who's going to want to race an F1 multi-class? Nobody. Stick to what they know. GT3s. Would we wish that they would come out and show some love for TCRs? Absolutely. I want some new TCRs. But they can't compete with F123. It's just not even in their remit.
How old is the Audi in the TCR class? That thing is ancient.
It's been there probably from the beginning.
It's not quite, but yeah, it's
you
quite
know what
old.
I mean.
That's different.
Yeah. I'm going to have I'm having a no, Scotty. You talk for a minute. I'm off on my research.
JP's off to find out how old the Audi. Yeah, but you're 100% right. I mean, the addition of the others has been phenomenal to leverage support within that category. But the Audi is just a different platform. It doesn't battle us in. Anyway, as the race continues to progress, it's Nick Wood who has control at the moment. Owen Coleman slowly creeping up to him. Was about 0.07 of a second faster than Nick Wood on that most recent lap. Coleman is coming, but remember that BMW responded in the middle of the fuel window, and we are back to the middle of that fuel window. Ben Jeffrey doesn't sit for an hour worth of racing, being 4.5 seconds back off our race lead, is actually doing a cracking job of things. And we have a reasonably even battle for the top 3. It's BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, before we see the second of our Mercedes. It's Jackson Pringle. Has had a phenomenal race thus far. He's up to 4th from 8th on the grid. Brendan Grosch follows him next in the first of the Ferraris. He is the lead of the new generation on Ferrari 296 and sits in 5th place all over the rear bumper of Jackson Pringle. Andrew Dutch in the Audi as well. So we've got a very mixed up manufacturer's top 10, which is phenomenal to see in this day and age of the iRacing GT3 platform. And we've got a three-way, effectively a very close three-way fight for 4th place on our hands at the moment. Best of the rest, best of those that won't stand on the podium thus far. Will the race have another twist to tell us? In the meantime, biggest improver thus far across the entire night. How about this from Jacob Hughes? In second of the Riot Sim Racing cars, is currently in 7th place, up from 21st. Phenomenal drive by the Porsche of Jacob Hughes in 7th place at the moment. 14 places gained will stand atop that pile. 8th place is currently Adam Jepson in another of the BMWs, and that is, what, 2nd of the BMWs? Yeah, indeed, it is the 2nd of the BMWs. So will be followed by Dean Reddit in the 3rd of the BMWs and the 3rd of the Riot Sim Racing cars. 4 Riot Sim Racing cars will make their way to the top 10. 2 of them will be a Mercedes. So in terms of your manufacturer's title, it's BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, one of each. 2 Mercedes. I believe it will be 4 Mercedes inside the top 10. 1 Ferrari, 1 Audi. 2 Porsche, by the way, and 3 BMW. No, so it's 3 Mercedes, 3 BMW, 2 Porsche, an Audi, and a Ferrari. That is a really mixed up top 10 in terms of manufacturers. They're all quite close together here, JP.
Yeah, it definitely is as well. No one manufacturer pulling away. Now, information on me little investigation. All right, I went off and I took a minute, and the Audi, for TCRs this is, guys, as well, bear with. The Audi come out in 2018, so did the Civic, the Veloster in 2019, and the Elantra in 2020. So even with the most recent car, which is the Elantra, we're already 3 years back on what's now been released this year. And the Audi and the Civic, we're 5 years back, considering the fact that they've all had different cars and there's now newer cars in the TCR class. And the Veloster 2019. So yeah, 5 years since a new Audi, technically 2020, so 3 years since a new TCR come into iRacing. And Alfonso Latella is leading the Challenger class with Justin Davies a little bit further back, trying to hunt him down. So there we go.
That's a good place. Yeah, good job. And they're actually, Latella's going to get to the inside of Martin Hallinan. So Hallinan's drop through the field continues after starting 7th, pinches a break, and Martin Hallinan's going to go around. So for Hallinan, he starts this lap inside of 12th spot. He's going to finish this lap barely inside the 20 if he's lucky, and he's got to get that track, across that track right now, and does do so. He's going to re-emerge right in front of Matt King, won't re-emerge there. Leith McClimate's going to go through, he's out, he's just barely hang on to 20th place. Round goes McClimate, and McClimate is going to be parked up facing the wrong direction. One spot back for Martin Hallinan, and he's had heavy contact as well.
Yeah, Dean Hunt, John O'Kiley. Hunt loses it on his own as well. They go past to Martin Hallinan, which looks like it unsettles Hunt a little bit. And
Hunt gets offline.
Yeah, but he's no real place for Kylie to go there. It probably didn't help. Hunt was rolling backwards a little bit, but they're both up and running once more. But yeah, not an ideal scenario for Hunt and Kylie there.
No, really not, and teammates as well. And we were talking things about that Lamborghini of John O'Kiley earlier on. It's now slumped to 21st place. So he's had, we saw the spin that he had earlier on in the evening's activities. And unfortunately for him, wrong place, wrong time, comes across a stricken teammate. Went back and had a look, JP. He was offline, clipped the leading edge of that curb. And those curbs through the S's are savage when you clip the front end of them at the wrong angle.
But I'm wondering for Dean Hunt, they are savage, but he's also trying to get past the recovering Martin Hallinan. And he wasn't... what I'm trying to say, I think, Scotty, is Martin Hallinan's rejoin may have had something to do with that, because Hunt couldn't take the line. Look, Hallinan just comes straight onto the track. Hunt gets a little bit squirrely. Oh, I don't know. I'm
maybe the next car behind.
Yeah, maybe I'm looking into, I don't know. Maybe I'm starting a conspiracy that might not be there. There is obviously a car at the moment. Kylie's car, yeah. Smoke coming out in the pit lane, Scotty. Never a good look for him. So Kylie might have to get repairs, or he could be done, to be honest, if he's used a fast repair on that.
Tell you what, I went back and had a look. Did call it wrong, actually, JP. Hallinan rejoined immediately behind. Some just barely missed Dean Hunt's Porsche. So the rejoin was safe on that behalf, and Leith McClymont actually left him a fair bit of room to rejoin into that hole. So I think that one will rest from Martin Hallinen's point of view. I don't think there'll be any further problems from race control. Maybe. Won't count it out.
Yeah,
I think he's okay.
The thing is as well, as Hunt's come over the top of the hill, right, you can see Hanlon coming off to the left. Yeah? So as you come over the top, you can see Hanlon hurtling down onto the track. Now, I'm not saying it's distracted him, but it probably possibly could have done. And that's caused him to go and do what he's done. But look, I'm not starting anything. We'll just have to see what happens.
Ladies and gents, if you want to catch the post-race fight between JP and Dean Hunt, we'll be broadcasting that at a later date, different channel.
Yeah, we'll have a, look, let's be real. There's a big difference in countries between me and Hunt, so...
Dean's actually really, really lovely. Runs his own league on the side. Really good to talk to, actually. Enjoy talking to Dean Hunt. He's always got good character, good bit of flavour about him. And for the Southern Cross League that he runs, they do a phenomenal job. They run the Formula V Australia Cup, by the way, which was actually commentating for them this year. Just finished in probably one of the most dramatic finishes I've ever seen in sim racing. We're watching two damaged Formula Vs truck back to the end of the lap to see who won the championship, which was just drama everywhere on the final lap of the season. But they also run a successful Porsche Cup League as well, so they do a good job. Rue Quister is another one of those league owners. So, that's the benefit of sim racing in Australia, is just about everyone's trying to do something for the benefit of the sim racing community, which, world over at JP, you yourself as well.
Yeah, well, we're in it at the moment. We've got a lot going on at JPB with obviously our broadcasting and commentary and trying to run leagues in the background as well. We do Clios, GT4s, TCRs. We're talking about a GT3. We're talking about a multi-class. We're talking about an endurance series. There's a lot going on, and I think it's everybody trying to help the industry, trying to help the thing that we love and do, and you're trying to provide the entertainment for people to race, because not everybody can race a GT3. People want to race a Clio, they want to race a GT4, they want to race a TCR, they want to race a Formula V, as you say. So there's a lot going on across all platforms at the moment as well. So yeah, it's an interesting one for us as well, because we're getting requests constantly. Oh, you're going to dive there, sir. Don't do that. McClymont, no, that was another one. You were coming so far back here. Carrick is another man that's under pressure from Norris. So we've just started up an American TCR as well. Sign-ups are open for that one. So you can go and check that out, jpbbroadcasting.com as well. If you want to, if you're around the American time zone on a Saturday morning, it's like 1 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern time, I think it goes off. So, yeah, a lot going on, Scotty. Jamie Stewart has just requested to tow, but this could be a reason why Jamie Stewart has done that. In that Porsche, round it goes.
Just having a quick look as well, I just had a requested and notice come in from Cher over on YouTube, which, by the way, is actually Requistra's mum. She's a racing fanatic herself. Was one of the leading female athletes way back when in the 70s. And something's just happened to Matt Keane as well. He's just reported something into race control at this point in turn, which I think happened down at turn 6, by the way. And this will tell the story. It was turn 6. Here comes Leith McClymont down the inside, and these two have been battling away for a long time.
Yeah, he tried it again. I don't understand that. You're too far away. That isn't the first time Leith McClymont has tried it, but he's too far away. He tried it into 10A, and I sat here and said, don't do that. you can't. What does he expect to happen? What does he expect Matt Keane to do? Pick up the car and go, oh, I'll move it out of the way for you. He ain't Harry Potter, mate. We ain't all wizards. We can't just click and move. You can't force a gap, mate. You can't force it if it ain't there. And Leith McClymont, it wasn't there.
Update on Rue Quister. He's done 2 pit stops in a very short space of time. Or is it, no, sorry, my apologies. I think he's just had a couple off tracks or a misadventure. Speeding penalty looks to be the case for Rue when he came in for his second pit stop. So I think Rue has absolutely gone on the strategy of half hours. So he thinks it's definitely going to be a 3-stop race. And I know pit lane entry here is quite slow.
Tricky. Yeah, it's a tricky entry.
Yeah, he missed. tell you what, when he went to turn into his pits for the second pit stop, missed the pit lane speed limiter and he gassed it up. So he got down to pit lane entry speed. He went for the pit lane speed limiter. I'm just basing this on in sim what I can see, and then he's pressed the gas again. So I'd say he's gone for that limiter and missed it, and then thought, I've got the limiter, she's on, and hit the gas pedal. By the time he's come out the other side, too late. Got to serve a penalty.
Absolutely. I'll be interested to know what happens with Leaf McClymont there as well. Martin Hanlon has unfortunately had a little bit of a tat-tat-tat with himself on his way into turn 6, I believe.
That's smoke.
It's smoke, yeah, but that was Reed recovering. Matt Keane, recovering. So for Hanlon, it was just caught up on Keeney's rejoin.
So, Justin Davies of a Porsche just had a huge moment that he managed to arrest at turn 6. Never mind, he's going to go around at turn 7. So that Porsche was not glued on down to the track. It was offline, I think. He put one tyre in the marbles at turn 6. That overheated the outside tyre, and he never got the car quite pulled back up under control in the marbles again at turn 7. And now Dean Hunt and Rue Caristra are going to go toe-to-toe down the straight with a recovering Stefan Mellis just in front of them. It's going to be superior drive for Dean Hunt when they get down to 10-8. Job done. A long way round, too, for Dean Hunt. That was a nice move there.
Yeah, nice overtake on the way through from Dean Hunt there over Rue Caristra. He's now just got to get his head down. 28th place. Norris is into the pits. Mellis is kind of... Mellis is a long way back. He's kind of just trying to shift out the way of people, I think, at the same time. Mark Foster is being chased down by Dean Reddit, and he's trying to have a go at Matt Carrick, but it is this front two that are starting to get closer. Coleman and Wood are starting to move into contact distance with each other. So they're going to be having a nice little battle over the next few laps here, Scotty, as well. And I think this could be one to keep an eye on.
I get the feeling Ben Jeffries recovered in terms of outright speed as well. Lap 48 set the fastest lap of the race, 18.301. Track temperature comes down 1 more degree, and the grip has come up in that Porsche, so he's trying to keep his tyres attached. He does have out-and-out pace, but I think the consistency, this next lap after it was at 18.362. So the top 3, in terms of lap times, it was the subsequent lap, lap number 50, was quite slow from Ben Jeffrey. Other than that, he's actually been taking time out of the 2 leaders.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's been chipping it off, but he's still a long way back, isn't he? He's 5.5 seconds at the moment. It's always going to be a struggle when you're 5.5 seconds back, so you've got to try and just make sure you just start chipping off laps, start chipping off as much time as you possibly can. Dean Reddit, however, is chipping out time out of Foster here. Foster in that McLaren, Reddit in that BMW, and it is looking a little bit quicker as well for Reddit. So could be an interesting fight developing further down the order.
How big a fan are you with your eyes on these McLaren? Have you ever had a lime milkshake, JP?
What?
A lime milkshake. You never had a lime milkshake?
No, I'm going to say no, but I presume this is a milkshake, right? This isn't some form of...
this is actually a milkshake.
Oh, right, okay. Just checking.
No, it is actually a thing. I've been to, I don't know if they have them, in Australia, things seem to hang on far longer than they necessarily should, so we've still got a few milk bars floating around the country. I've had lime milkshakes, and this started as a thing back in season 1, but for Mark Foster, see the colour of that car? It is the lime, the colour of what a lime milkshake would look like, and ever since it's been lime milkshake Foster. Pete and I gave him what we thought commentator's driver of the season, because he always had a little bit of fun with us in season 1. Both chipped in, got him a coaching session, and since then he's actually come on leaps and bounds. So this one's out to you, Fozzie. Keep working on it, buddy.
Yeah, he is as well. I do love the McLaren. It is a nice car. If I was Reddit, I'd be hanging marshmallows out the window, burning them off the exhaust flames. Look at them. Vroom, vroom. Giving myself a schmore every time as well. Go drive it behind him. You know what I mean? But that's what I would do. You would look at them. The flames come out. You know, give it...
It's known as the fly-breathing dragon for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Get some marshmallows hanging out the window. That's what I would do. Get it done that way. Foster's got to have a go. There are now people coming in for their second pit stops here. Justin Davis is in. Scholes is in. Martin Hanlon is also in the pit. So we are 50 minutes. It is going to be 3 stops I think it is going to be 3 stops, and it's whether or not these leaders have taken out or managed, what were we at, 28.56. This is going to be close.
I think if you're Owen Coleman, you've absolutely got to fuel save. Why do you want to go toe to toe here? The rate for me, JP. Could you imagine if Ben Jeffries sat back there and he's just been fuel saving this entire time? It doesn't matter. He's 5 seconds off the lead. He wins this race on strategy. The critical factor for me is, can someone go far enough? It's going to take a big ask. I think after that first stop, it's going to take 2 30 lap stints to get to the end of this race, and I think it's just too far. 2 30 lap stints is a big ask.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a push for some of these drivers as well. The thing is, this is the thing for me when I drive in, like, when I drive, let's be real, James, you'd never ever drive. So, you know, generally when I did drive before, I would never have the capability and be able to monitor fuel and think, right, where am I at? Can I fuel save? I just go flat out. And that's the thing, I'd run out the car right until it's out and then go, right, I'm going into the pits now, and then work out how many laps I've done. But these guys are a little bit more experienced, but they are going to have to try and they've got to try and do something, because they are going to get caught up otherwise. They're going to get caught up at that last one, that last splash and dash, because I don't think they're going to be able to make it. I really don't. Jeffrey's in. Jeffrey's in. Grotch is in. Dutch is in. Unless you've been fuel saving heavily from the beginning, you ain't making this on 2.
Yeah. I think you needed to get 29 on that first stint and then get 2 30s in, which gets you to 59, 89. We're scheduled tonight at maximum speed. Now, this is without a pit stop, and I think the pit stop covers it out. 89.7 laps is about how far we're going to go. So if you back that pace, the problem as well, the other bigger problem, I think, and this is the real one, is the lap times are coming down with that track temperature, and it's still cooling off. We've got 50 minutes left in this race. We've just dipped to 23 degrees Celsius. We are now 5:45 p.m. in the sim. We're going to finish this one off about 6:30. Or fractionally thereafter, which is getting close to sunset. And I tell you what, I've just had a word with Jimmy Middleton. He said, nope, I'm done, parked it, too slow. Couldn't keep up with the race progression thus far this evening. I tell you what, he's going to be along in a few moments to do an interview with us as well.
It'd be nice to have a chat with old Jimmy. Find out what he's why and what and how, and clearly he just wasn't on it today, so there you go. Anyone who has a baby knows the colour.
No.
Yes.
No. I don't think that's the same colour as baby vomit, and indeed, Fozzle was quite offended by that. He loves it.
Scotty is not talking about vomit.
Okay. All right. You can tell I'm not a father.
Yeah, he's definitely not talking about vomit. Let's just put it that way for that green colour. I get you, Nath. I get you. Let's just put it that way. I've had a few kids, so I know where that is coming from, and it ain't coming from the top end, Scotty. Let's just put it in that direction. Reddit and Dave is still playing out here as well. So, yeah. Jefferson's in, Pringle's in, Latella's in, Provençali's in, McMinimum's in. So... McMinimum. Oh, shut up,
Jesse
Scotty.
McMinimum.
That's the one. Move on. Stop it.
Speaking of drivers who are in, it's Jimmy Middleton into the broadcast booth. Jimmy, not the night at the office you were chasing.
Probably not, lads.
You're right.
The price you pay for not loading up your setup properly, isn't it? So I was just getting smoked in a straight line, mate. So.
We had that debate, actually. We said, I mean, the difference between sim and real world is, I mean, one click and you've loaded in the wrong setup. You can't do that with a real life car. It's quite an adjustment to change the camber on a tyre.
And, iRacing won't let you do it mid-race. So I was just, it was a little bit depressing. I've been a bit quicker than I was showing there tonight. I mean, it was pretty good, but it was just slow. It's just one of those things.
Sorry to cut you off here, Jimmy. I've actually just seen some contact in the pit lane. Something's happened to Joel Vitale in his circuit through the pit lane. He's come to nearly a complete stop right in front of Ricky Provenzali. And Rick's had nowhere to go, to be quite frank with you. This happened in the fast lane. I think Ricky's been lucky and gotten away, but Joel Vitale, not so. So I think Vitale's got a major problem with that car.
He's running. He is running. I'm trying to find... his pit lane exit
was after he'd come out of his stall. So he's already slow here. So it was before this. It was just before this. But he's now got damage on the rear end of that car, and it is behaving all sorts of out of shape. And I can tell you, meatball flag has been issued.
well, there you
So
go.
expect him to return to the pit lane.
That's bad luck for him. That's his first run out with us tonight too. He's a good lad.
Tell us a little bit about the driving culture here, Jimmy, because it's, for me, this league is quite unlike the others. It's not about elite performance. It's about camaraderie. It's about working together. It's about getting out there on track and having a good time.
Yeah, community's a big driver of it. You know, it's we try to sort of label it as an alien-free zone. There's a couple of really fast guys in here, obviously, and that's why we moved this season to doing the split rooms. So you got the quick guys in one, and then the other lads in the challenger class. But it's she's no holds barred pretty much for the whole way through the field. It's a good spread. So, but the main thing is to get everyone on board in, drive. The main thing's the respect the guys have for each other. That's what we want to really drive into it. So most of the time they're really good with that. And yeah, anyone who wants to have a crack, check the links in the Discord or in the YouTube there and come and say good day.
And in terms of things, obviously you were off running in different Discord, different team arrangement here tonight. Were you running off on your own, or were there other drivers that you were in there communicating with?
Myself, I have enough trouble driving the car without talking to people in the background, mate. So you've seen my efforts in the past. It doesn't go unnoticed when you commentate me and my mishaps. That goes for you too, Mr. Parfit. But
hold on.
I try to.
I'm sitting here quietly. Don't bring me into this.
I generally, if I'm halfway through a dud night, I'll hop in a room with a couple of the other lads and just shoot the breeze for the rest of the race. But most of the time, I'll sort of keep to myself when the race is on. Practice sessions and that's a bit different. Everyone's in there having a yarn and taking the mickey out of each other. So it's a wicked time. So everyone has a ball doing it. So and you guys do a great job with the broadcasting of it. I know that everyone who's in it has a watch of it either that night or the next day. So that's what it's all about. We just want everyone to have a cracking time and a bit of fun along the way. So.
Well, hello, Jimmy from the future. This is Jimmy from the current talking to you. We hope you have a great time, because I know you'll be watching this back tomorrow. You'll be listening to some of the debates that JP and I have already had. And this is a passion for sim racing, and that's what it is, a passion for sim racing.
Exactly right. Well, that's why you're the gob on the stick, mate. you know the words to fill the air.
Thank you very much for your time, Jimmy. Unfortunate to tonight's proceedings, mate, but thanks for joining us.
Getting used to it, Scotty. It's all good, mate. It's all part of the fun.
You know what they say, Jim, don't you? You know what they say?
Which one?
Get good, brother.
Yeah, well, that's what I've got to do. Need a bit more time bum in seat, I think. So, yeah, we'll get there.
I believe the phrase going around in the younger audience is a skill issue, Jimmy, so we'll leave you with that one.
Yeah, it was definitely an issue between the seat and the steering wheel tonight. Don't worry about that.
Thank you very much for your time, Jimmy. Have a cracking the rest of your night, brother.
Cheers, guys. You too.
Mate.
It's always good to chat to Jimmy and Rick. Parcel of working here is that you've got to have a bit of banter on, and for guys that are having a bit of banter at the moment, it is that Audi that has been struggling all night for Dutchy, who's on the rescue effort after that second stop. He's somehow gone backwards all the way down to 12th spot, but that was the pass he just completed on Sean Benicki.
Yeah, he did. He just got past him there as well. Obviously different classes, so for Benici, I would look at basically let Dutch pull me forward into Latella. To be honest, they're sitting first and second in class, right? I would literally let Dutch pull me forward and see how close he can get me to Latella and just sit back and relax. I wouldn't really be fighting it too much here, Scotty. If I was Benici, just use him as best you can.
I'll tell you what, Andrew Dutch is actually the reason he's slipped back. He's had 2 pit stops, and they're only a couple laps apart, so that looks to be a cold tyre issue. Yeah, he had a big old spin, and it was off turn 5, actually, and a big impact with the front end of that wall, on the wall, and that was on lap 55, so that was not all that long ago, which was, actually, only about 3 laps after he'd just done a pit stop, so Actually, it was even less than that. It was the second out lap. It was his first flying lap after coming out of the pit stop. So, unfortunately, Audi and cold tyres have not mixed well for Andrew Dutch tonight, and his opportunities now will be seeing how far he can clamber his way back up the order. The real question is, did anyone go far enough into this race to get home? And the driver who went the furthest into the race was Nick Wood.
Yeah, he went 57. He went 57 laps.
That's not enough.
He pitted on lap 57. His first one was on 28. 8 and 8, 16. He went a lap longer.
29.
Yeah, he went a lap longer, but...
That leaves him 31 to do for my liking, JP. Either 30 or 31 to do.
Is he fuel saving, Scotty? That's the thing.
Oh, well, it's not a loud engine, that bit. Yes, he is.
Massively.
Yes, he is, and he is massively saving.
Yep.
What's Coleman doing in this situation?
Well, Coleman's 1.27 back at the moment.
The big questions down here.
One.
For me, you've got a fuel save at one, and you've definitely got a fuel save down the hill. They're both doing it, but for me, Wood is fuel saving heavier. No,
Coleman's just literally fuel saved from 1 all the way up the hill into 2.
Does this award Ben Jeffrey an opportunity here?
Depends what Jeffrey's up to. I think that's going to be one of the things. We know Wood and Coleman are.
Well, Jeffrey can't make it. Jeffrey, absolutely. So Jeffrey pit on 53.
Yeah, he's not going to get there.
To get home, what's that, like a 37-lap stint?
Yeah.
He can't do it. So Ben Jeffrey is full-blown attack here. My word! Do you remember the GT4 race from Monza? Actually, no, you weren't on the coverage for that one. Actually, JP, it was a fuel race. There was only one driver who made it, and that was our race winner.
Is he clutching?
You can't clutch. You cannot clutch in the GT3s. They disabled that as a fuel-saving tactic. So the only option available to the drivers is lift and coast.
Listen to Coleman going up the hill.
He's closed too. He's closed on Nick. So Wood has gone much further. So the problem for Coleman here is he's got to get 32 laps or so. If they fuel save and drop this pace all the way off, it's still going to be 32 laps or so. We think they can get to 30. 31 is a tough ask. Yeah. Forget it. If you're in Owen Coleman's shoes, you just got to go.
Yeah.
You got to try and drag Nick Wood along. You got to try and break him out of fuel saving.
Yeah, just put him under pressure. Put him under pressure and see what he can do. You want to force him to make that pit stop. You know, and we can know Wood saving, and we see Coleman is saving, but you want to force Wood to make the stop. You want to get past him, and you want to jet off and say, it doesn't matter if you're saving. If I can get enough gap between you and the next fuel stop, you ain't going to get near me anyway. So they've got to try, for Coleman's situation, just get onto Wood and give him as much grief as you possibly can and try and get past him. That's what I would do. Force Wood to chase, which then forces him into that pit stop.
You can't. Owen Coleman cannot make it. I don't... Look, for Owen Coleman to make it to the end of the race, what did he pit the first time by? 28? Well,
yeah,
he's gone
28
again. Right? If he was going to make it, he had to. I think it's the same. Wood is a big old question mark over him. Is a potential to save it? It would be ridiculous the amount of fuel he's had. Everyone else will not make it, basically. Everyone else will not make it. There are several drivers out there that are pitting on the half-hour mark because they're just abandoning the fuel strategy altogether, right? Mm-hmm. So, which is probably smart, actually. They're out there with less fuel on board every single pit stop, which is shorter pit stops, less heat through the tyres respond better, the car is quicker for the entirety of the stint. It's actually really, really smart driving. Yeah. Oh. Stop saving. Owen won't make it. Nick might make it, but Owen's got to pull. He's got to break him. And this next segment of the race is about breaking him.
Yep. It's about putting him under pressure. Stop saving, because you're not going to get there. He pitted 2 laps behind Wood as well, 2 laps earlier. So we think Wood's close, but Coleman's got to go a long way. And
Well, look, Coleman's flipped the switch.
well, has he? Let's have a listen going up through turn 1.
Yeah, no saving
Lift,
there. Absolutely
lift.
none. He was on the throttle all the way to the braking zone that time.
Yeah, I would just go for it. Put him under pressure, see how much distance you can get. See if you can open up enough to get the Fury free splash and dash at the end, personally.
Well, this is going to be a nail. Oh, that will change things. That was 2 cars all out of sequence. And that was Jesse McMenamin.
Sean Bonici.
And Sean Bonici, yeah. Has he rolled back across the track and collected someone as well?
No, I've got a funny feeling.
Are these 2 separate incidents?
Oh, dude! Get out! What was that rejoin? Like, that's off turn 5, that's fine. What is that?
There's another one. There's another one that just called through, and I think it's Rukuistra as well. Has he caught a flying Jesse McMenamin?
I'm trying to find it, bear with. I've just got Coistra sat there at the moment, which is really quite annoying. So there's... I'm wondering if he got...
absolutely another secondary incident.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this here... Right, there's Coistra. So we come into this. Boom. Oh!
Netcode.
Him and Kylie had it coming together. Bonici seriously needs to look at that rejoin. Bonici seriously could be in trouble.
In big trouble. That'll be a massive points penalty.
I'm surprised he would still be in the race as well, to be honest, because that was a mistake. That was a mistake by Bonici, and that's cost minimum as well.
Yep. I mean, I don't know. He's not attempting to be egregious because you do have a little bit more of the road to work with there, sitting on the left-hand driver's left as he was as well. For me. And unfortunately for John O'Kiley, he's clipped the car, and there's half a car width worth of netcode between Rukuistra and John O'Kiley. So that one, and Rukuistra actually jumped on the in-game comms straight away. Don't even bother looking at it. It's netcode and don't want it looked at. There's nothing in it. Don't worry about it, which is absolutely the correct way to approach that. Difference being for Benicki is he's on the left-hand side of the road. Now, I'll have a debate with you over this, JP. I still don't think he should have come as far across the road as he did, but for me, I think he's underestimated. I don't think there's any direct intent in it. I think he's tried to pull the car off the corner and just lost track of where he is in comparison to everything.
Don't you think, though, a relative would have told him? A relative box? The thing is, one of the things that drives me crazy whenever I commentate is that, right? And that's the thing. He went off here. That's where... Yeah. So he's initially gone off, right? And now... Hold on. That was a second.
After.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds. Yeah. Let me find the initial contact he had. So this is him coming off through turn 5, right? So he comes off here, and this is where it all goes peak tom. Off the curb, which we've said to stay away from. Right. Now, for me, at this moment here, I would not have been...
No, not that far. I think he's misjudged it. But even so, like...
I don't think he concepted the relative at that point, and either didn't have it on the screen, or he didn't have it available, or he didn't have something somewhere telling him, don't go across the track. I don't know if he tried to... Maybe... Look, let's be nice, right? Because, it's Sunday morning for me.
visually, JP, he can't see anything because over that crash, he absolutely. So the only thing he's got is the relative box. So from a real world racing perspective, what would be the difference in that incident? Is the only thing I'd say. The difference would be there would be a hard yellow flag there that would basically say all drivers must slow, which would give him a lot more ability to rescue that car. That's the difference, right? Because he's blind. He's totally blind.
Yeah, but he might be, and I agree. You can't see. Right, we're on board with him now. You can't see.
Yeah.
What would have been the sensible thing to do? Not that, because now we're going to go and do that, right? If you have a look at what area he has got to basically go up and turn around in, look in front of him. Would you have not have run that Porsche to the top of the hill and used that grass to try and spin the wheel? The thing is, if Benici has thought, oh, it's iRacing grass, I can just hit the accelerator and the back end will come round, it doesn't anymore because of the depth that's been added to it. So maybe he tried, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and maybe say Benici there tried to come round, tried to spin it round, and he is in YouTube chat as well, so let's have it, Sean. It hooked the asphalt and shot me forward, was not trying to pull out that far. Yeah, and that's the thing as well. Maybe driving up the wall into the bit of the grass area so you could have seen what's coming might have been an idea. You know, we never said you did it on purpose. I'm just saying that there might have been better options for you than doing it that way.
The other thing is damage in that instance as well, because he doesn't, before he's trying to flick it around, he's got no concept, and he's got good drive to the rear. The rear of the car looks okay, but the front, he wouldn't have brakes on the front end of it to pull it up. It's racing.
Yeah, it is.
It's happened,
I just it's happened, it's done, but maybe next time run it up the wall into the grass area to then try and see.
For sure.
And then, you know, hey,
we live, we learn. All I can ever ask, and I actually had this really, really good discussion. I had a multi-class race with the LMP3 and the GT4s recently, and I was sitting third, I think, second or third overall in the GT4s. And a guy in the LMP3 class lost it in front of me. And he'd lost it, just made a mistake, overcorrected it, and shot back across the track in front of me. And it's the same thing I sort of said to him that I'll say to Sean here. All I can ask is that you listen to some feedback and you apologize and you vow to improve. As soon as you've done that, that's it. That's all we can ask for.
Yeah, that's it.
Anyone that keeps going on after it, is not worth the salt.
No. Oh, they read it there. Having a nice little battle with Justin Davies. Davies is second in the Challenger class, of course. Sean, agreed. Yes, I agree. Should have pulled in the grass further. Yeah, that would have been my philosophy. Coleman still sat behind Wood here. I don't think this is going to change much. I've got to be honest. I don't think this is going to change.
Are they now playing chicken? Are they playing fuel chicken? What's the margin? So the next car back is Ben Jeffrey, and he's dropped.
Nearly 8 seconds.
The track time's come down again too, so... I mean, it's not like those times have extended or dropped off in any way. I think we're wrong. I'm going to be honest with you. I think we're wrong about these times, about the fuel.
You reckon?
I think... I'm less and less certain as time goes on that they're actually fuel saving. They might be pushing on.
Well, I think they may have just started to push on, though, mind you, because Ben Jeffrey's in the 119.29s here for last time around, and Coleman and Wood 118.6, 118.6 and 118.8. So difference in times there as well, but I don't know where this is going to go. I'm a little bit confused on what's going to happen here, because 1 minute it looked like they were fuel saving, and the next thing it looked like they're not. And now, honestly, Scotty, we're not really sure, are we? Let's be real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so update on Rue after that one. Rue is actually done for the day. So that was, I mean, the difficulty is a toe just puts you too far down, and without the use of the safety car thus far this evening, it's done and dusted for me for Rue. So he's taken the rest of his evening off. Sure actually said, Sure is his mum from YouTube chat, said that he races home after work on a Sunday to actually come race. So for him, it was he always pushes to get into the sim. It's always a rush in terms of time, which I thought he was a fractionally better driver. That would actually explain it. That would be the missing element that haven't seen out of his driving. Or alternatively, could just be no love for the GT3 class as well. You know, each driver's got their own preferred categories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately for Roo, that's day done. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not 100% confident in what's going on in this battle. The one thing that I am watching on board with at the moment, I went on board with Ben Jeffrey just to sort of see, because his lap times have been floundering a little bit. Lots of mistakes. I've seen mistakes in 2 out of the last 3 laps from Ben Jeffrey. Struggled to get the car pulled up at turn 7, turned it, and then onto the power, and the thing had a big old wiggle as it fed a left tyre into the marbles. And then on this lap, he's missed a couple of braking markers. So fatigue is a factor where Ben Jeffrey is concerned.
It's a factor when you're driving 2 hours on your own, mate. You know what I mean? 2 hours on your own. Yeah, it is a factor there as well. Cher said no, he loves the GT3. Maybe it is just seat time that Rukawistra's not getting then as well. Maybe that could be an issue. But Hughes and Jepson fighting it out for 6th and 7th. There's going to be pit stops.
I should tell you Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, pit stops in terms of strategy and whatnot. I think this battle between Pringle and Jepson, and indeed most of these cars sort of in this area, it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, Hughes and Jepson find out. I believe there's got to be another pit stop with these guys as well. Jacob Hughes on 52. Jepson on 54.
He's still not got that under control.
No.
If I was in Jacob Hughes' shoes right now, so the difficulty is this last stint, if it's a splash and dash, this will be the furthest these guys have to take the tyres tonight. Now, admittedly, it should be okay. The only factor I'm worried about is actually the temperature in these rear tyres. So for Jacob Hughes, his best bet might be to split it down the middle, particularly because he's in that Porsche. We've been seeing the Porsches ail in the back end of the stint on those rear tyres. Split it down the middle. Why? Come into the pit lane, give your tyres time to cool down whilst you're refueling that car. I think that might be quite crucial for this Porsche.
Yeah, I believe it's probably going to be crucial for the front guys as well. In the Merc and the BMW, they have got a back market in McKay in front of him. I wonder what state of effect that McKay's car is. He's got his repairs, so he's got his bumper back, but I can guarantee he is not going to be very popular around about now either. Sir, there is a big blue flag raising behind you. Please remove yourself from this situation. This is a fight that you do not need to be in. And if you don't remove yourself, you're going to upset me dearly. So,
well, there you go. On cue.
There we go. Thank you. Good job. You're now in my good books, Mr. McKay.
That was on command. Did you reach out on his team radio and just say, "Hey, blue flag, please step out of the way"? Because I think that's exactly the message.
Please remove yourself. So yeah. Cher said he's got a new job, longer hours for Rukawistra, so that could be why his seat time's getting less and less.
Such is life. And like I said, he runs a successful. You know what? I'm still not sure about Nookwood. Hey.
Honestly, I think for us, I'm seeing 3 and 4 pit stops, and Matthew Scholes has got his 3rd one on as well. And he's the highest at the moment in the overall standings that has taken 3 stops. Everybody else below that has not.
Dean Reddit's the 2nd place guy that has taken that 3rd stop.
Dean Reddit has. So. And now it's whether or not they're going to get 21 minutes. 57, 28.
It's been a frantic race too in terms of lap speed.
77, 82. Lap 82. 82 is going to be in 6 laps time. They're doing minute 20, 6.5, 7.5. I'll give you 8 minutes at the most before we start seeing splash and dashes here, Scotty. And that's just me.
I reckon 10. I reckon go a little bit further. I reckon we're probably target lap to get this pick, because if you consider Nick Wood went to lap 57, which was 29 laps, so he'd be in on 76 if he goes 29 again. Sorry, 86. It'd be 86.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure my maths is somewhere around there. I was like, hold on. Yeah, I'm sure I'm not losing it. Yeah, did it confuse you, Scott?
No, yeah. So I think you're going to see both of these guys are going to run it long. I don't think you're going to see them pit until they absolutely have to. I think Owen Coleman's best bet is to go for an undercut. absolutely think that if he goes head-to-head in terms of raw speed on the track, he's got a shot. If he leaves it, the problem that that he's got with Nick Wood is Wood's got a less fuel to add.
Yeah. What about tyres?
No. It's a splash. You won't have a chance. I'd risk it. I'd absolutely risk it and not take tyres here. A splash for what we're looking in the realm of 7 to 8 laps. Oh. You're not going to have time. You might get one tyre done.
Jepson, what have you been doing? Oh, he just got run out. He just got run out.
Oh!
He just got run out by that Porsche. I think it was Jacob Hughes.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure Jepson's going to be best impressed with that. Because if you have a look at Hughes' line coming out here...
He misses the corner. Hughes has missed his turn-in point.
Yeah, Miles. He's nowhere near the apex. He's not giving him room for anything.
No.
I know you've opened up the steering, and we do say open up the steering, that's fine. But opening up the steering is great. But not actually steering is a different situation. Look, he's not locking it in to try and...
He's turned in too late. He's absolutely turned in too late. And the other thing is, to go through too wide through their JP, you have to lift in GT3 cars. You absolutely have to lift.
And you have to give the amount of respect. And that's what we spoke about at the beginning. You can do it at certain points of the circuit, but you've got to have the respect on the inside. Because if you don't, that is what happens. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jepson isn't happy about that. Because it didn't look like Hughes turned in, to be honest. Or turned in late. Safety car. No, right. This is right. Let me pick up on Nathan Allen, right, in YouTube chat. We haven't had a safety car. Why have we not had a safety car? We've had some quite interesting meaty incidents.
Let them race. I think the instruction has been.
Yeah, but
we've had a change in race control staff, JP. And I think the move was to get away from, because it was something like 5 safety cars at Barcelona.
Nathan Allen at the moment made a good point a little bit earlier on as well. What is the point of the safety car if we're not going to use it?
I'll admit I'm sitting here scratching my head.
Look, let's take it into terms of football or soccer or whatever else you want to call it, right? Referee lets them play on, VAR interrupts, the next thing you know it all goes wrong, right? The game then just goes completely and utterly Pete Tong, because we've seen it this weekend or last weekend as well. The thing is, the problem with bringing out a safety car on every single incident is the race isn't going to flow. It's not going to give us this interesting situation that we've got right now, as we can see Minimum and Ruddle fighting it out further down for 22nd and 23rd there. So the option is, does he bring it out every single time? Well,
and then you've got to be consistent with it.
And then you've got to be consistent. So once you start bringing it out once, you've got to be consistent, and then you're going to end up bringing it out because people are going to go, well, my incident was the same as his incident, and I didn't get a safety car, but he got a safety car, and I didn't get a safety car. Stop crying, right? Stop crying.
Yeah.
You know, just get on with it.
It's one or the other. I really agree with you there, JP. It's one or the other. You either bring it out for every single time there's a tow, or you never bring it out. Those are your really only 2 options. And after round 1, where we had a lot of incidents with the 50-plus cars, and for Road Atlanta, look at the number of incidents we've had tonight. We'd have 5 safety cars, I think we'd be up to. We never would have got racing. At
least. And let's look at it in the bigger picture. What did we say the numbers was, Scotty, at the beginning? 41? And you said we got a depleted field?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're now sitting on
30,
26.
27, 29 cars?
26.
Well, the 29th place is on track.
Yeah. So who is 29th? Rue Cawistra's out. With John O'Kiley's out. Jepson's in the pits. Honey's out. Gretsch is the final car, I believe, and that's 25. 25 out of 41.
Stefan Mellis.
Stefan
Mellis is out on track. Mellis is out on track, but there are 2 cars ahead of him that are not.
Yeah, so...
Which is Rue and Benicki.
Yeah, let's be real about it, right? Mellis is out there trying to make up some laps. He's a long way back. He's on 61. The leaders are on 77. So fair play to him for carrying on, but he's clearly had a bit of a terrible one. So the competitive... So let's just say the last competitive driver, Adrian Gretsch, 3 laps down. That's 25 out of the 41 we started. So if you had a pit stop in a safety car for every single one of them people going out, because that's what we've had. We haven't had people, we had a hardware failure in one of the Fords. I think it was Burgess, wasn't it? Hardware failure.
Burgess, yeah.
That's the only real hardware failure we've had. Everything else has been incidents. So you think how many incidents we've had against how many cars we've lost, how many safety cars would we have? So safely you say we got 41, we got 16, half it, say probably 8 of that, 8. Probably looking at 6, 7, even 8, 9 if you include the fact that Matthew Scholes has just gone and put it 8 into the wall at turn 5. Can we really run a race with 8 safety cars?
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? And
you're never going to get racing. It's like NASCAR, dude. I've done a NASCAR race where we had 12, 13, 14, 15, 50% of the laps were under safety car. It's not good for anyone.
I can tell you, I've actually seen a 200-lap race at Bristol do 34 cautions. They spent 80% of the race on a caution.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's different approaches. The end of the day is different approaches. Different leagues do it differently. This is the approach that's been picked up and run here. Disagree with it? Go nuts. Say it's the wrong approach? Go nuts. Difference in opinion.
Yeah, Nathan Allen, if the car is stopped in a safe position, don't call it. But when you have cars stopped on track, then it's needed. Now, okay, let me put it into
what
a perspective. What do you call
safe?
Yeah. Was Benici in a safe place? He was, right up until the point he come onto the track, right? That's fine. There's been others as well. Okay, so let's have a look at the Scholes incident. He's just called a tow. Is he in a safe place?
In theory, there's no wall gap there. If that's what you're calling safe, there's no wall gap there.
He's in a safe place partly because of the fact of where he is on track. If he's not in the racing line, then he's in a safe place. And everybody incident, I can bring you 3 or 4 at the moment here, Nate, where everybody has either reversed out the way or got onto the grass where they've sat down in a safe place. And that's the thing. If they're not on the racing line and the car isn't immovable, like we saw in the GT4s here with Stefan Mellis, where he was stuck in turn 1, couldn't go anywhere, the car was absolutely battered, then yeah, call it. But if they're in a safe space and they've reversed out the way and they've moved out the way, let it flow. Let it flow. If they still want to tow, that's their job. But it's not down to race control to throw a safety car and say, well, you've reversed back because you requested to tow, we'll throw it. No, you're in a safe space, you're out the way, you're not on the racing line. Don't need it.
Moving on. I think yeah, safety cars. It's one of those debates, and I don't ever think that there's a right way to go about the debate. I think both viewpoints are absolutely valid. At the end of the day, we're a game. We can do whatever the hell we want. That's what I think. Everyone will sit here and say sim. We are not we're a sim to a point. At the end of the day, we are a game from other points, and I love that fact about sim racing. I love the fact that we're a game because it gives us different elements. Yeah. Should we do tracing realism? Yes and no is the correct answer.
You can't get over realistic. You can't get over realistic because otherwise it would just make it horrendous. You lose
elements of the racing.
Yep. The fun of it. The fun would go out the window because as we've said, is it perfect? Absolutely not. But everybody still loves it. So let's just go with it as that at the moment. We start seeing Scotty. We're now getting 3 pit stops in. Ben Jeffrey, 3rd stop on lap 79.
Yeah, so he's now come in and he's had a crack, and I think the undercut. Well, look, if he's going to bolt on new tyres, absolutely, but I just don't think he's going to bolt on new tyres at this stage of the race. I just don't. From Ben Jeffrey, he is 43 seconds back. His pit lane transition time was end to end. 15 seconds shorter at 36 seconds. Mm-hmm. Brendan Grosh only took a 35-second end-to-end time. They've got, now that says to me, I reckon Wood can get away with maybe a 31-second end-to-end time, which is a splash, absolute splashful. I think Coleman's still in because his previous pit time was about the same, I think, as Ben Jeffrey. I think they pit on the same lap. So I think he's down for a 36-second. So in actual fact, if Owen Coleman doesn't get by on track and start pulling a gap, I reckon he's going to come out 5 seconds behind here.
And then we've got Pringle mixing it up as well. He's only 25 seconds back. So depending on where we definitely believe that. It's going to be very shortly. It has got to be very, very shortly here for Wood and Coleman. We're coming into that last 10 minutes. They've got to be running on fumes. Literally fumes all day.
28 laps. 28 laps for Pringle this time by. So I would expect him in the lane this lap. For these guys, that would say for me, Coleman next time by will be 28. So that's 27 just clicked off there, the end of 27. So he's now on his 28th lap. If he's going for 29 laps, and I did see elements of fuel saving there, so I think it's possible, 29 laps. So it's not the end of this lap. It'll be the end of the next one. End of this lap if he's been pushing.
Yeah. This is where it's going to get down to the nitty-gritty. This is where we're going to see. This could end up being a Pringle-Coleman-Wood fight. It really is. Pringle's in the pit stops. In the pit lane now. So Pringle is in the pit lane now. It's now deciding what Wood and Coleman are going to do. Where is Jeffrey going to be in conjunction to Pringle? Well, he should take that third place away. I don't think Pringle's stuck. No, Jeffrey is going to be back into the third. Now, whether or not he's going to be able to get the Coleman up front, I don't know. But it's got to be this lap. This lap, maybe one more. Maybe one more.
I'm going to keep half an eye on this. It was an interesting event. You'll love this, JP, by the way. An interesting event in the Bathurst 1000 today. One of the cars crossed the safety car line at the exit of the pit lane, and I'm talking less than half a car length because in comes Owen Coleman, so that'll decide this debate. 28 laps is the distance that he's going to go on that fuel tank. And not a drop more from Owen Coleman. How deep is Nick Wood going to come? If I'm in Nick Wood's shoes, I'm coming next lap.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave the door open.
Do you know what's worse? For Owen Coleman, he hit the wall on the pit lane as he was coming in.
Oh, no.
Yeah. If we have a look, he goes in here and he just cooks it a little bit. Watch the right-hand side. Just off there. And he gets all out of sync.
Just dunk.
Yeah, and he has to there as well. So when you needed a perfect pit lane, you kind of needed a perfect pit lane entrance, and he didn't get it. He did manage to hang on. He come out in front of Jeffrey. That's fine. We knew that was likely to happen. But now all on Wood, and whether or not he's going to try and come out and cover him off. Where is Coleman on track? Coming into 5. Wood's on the other side of the circuit, going down the stop, down into 10A. Coleman's time, 37.22 from top to bottom, including stop.
So Nick Wood is going to be electric through this pit lane. Watch that. No, he's going on. Okay, so his stop is probably going to be 29. I would say it would be 29 seconds then based off on Owen Coleman. So back to the comment I was making. You know what? There was an incident today where Garth Tander just barely didn't get to the safety car line. Stayed out the track, didn't take a pit stop under a safety car period. Fractionally, less than half a car length behind Brock Feeney. And, they took a look through the rulebook, Motor Racing Australia, and the only option to them, there was no redress option when, so Tander's then gone on to take the position away from Feeney, who was coming out of pit lane at a slow speed. After that line, there was no option available to them in the rulebook to say, hey, redress this position. Their only option was to issue a penalty. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes that's the case with rulebooks and things. Is people, even the best, miss those lines.
Yep.
In rulebooks sometimes, and that could be the case actually for what's been handed to Lee Williamson as a part of the race control duties here. Maybe that's the design. Maybe that's the flow of things. Who knows? I don't know at the moment. I can't tell you confidently that that's definitely the case.
Yeah. Answering your question, Cher, as well. He pitted on 28. And he's now on 80. He pitted on 57. Sorry, he's now on 85, and he's now in.
Yep.
Now we'll keep an eye because coming down into 10A is.
So that's 27 laps on that stint.
Owen Coleman. Yeah, I got him at 57. I think 57 or 58. I think it was. Right.
56. So he has gotten 29 laps out of that one.
He's got to go. He's got to go. Coleman's on his way.
This will be a quick stop.
Coleman's on his way. Wood's up the hill.
Oh, my word.
Oh.
Oh, my word. End-to-end time, 30 seconds. So we did gain 2 seconds on Owen Coleman there, but Coleman saved a bucket load of fuel in behind him. A bucket load of fuel.
He just come out.
But now
There
this
he
is out and out duel.
Yep. Straight fight now for the next 5.5 minutes. But has Coleman got the pace?
Well, who's got the tyres? So if you remember the first stint, remember when we watched it, it was Coleman early, then Wood came back at him, right? And then Wood went very, very long in that first pit stop and got some more juice. Somehow managed to undercut. It was Coleman didn't die. For me, I reckon Coleman underdrove his first pit lane entry. So for that pit lane entry right there, he overdrove the pit lane entry, trying to squeeze every margin out of it, knowing that that's where he lost it on the previous one. So now it's going to be head-to-head, JP. And Coleman hasn't been close enough to have a look since he's been behind, but has he been holding back in this Mercedes?
Well,
give you another opportunity to ride on board.
Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Can he now make that time up? It doesn't look much. It's 7 tenths, don't get me wrong, but 7 tenths is 7 tenths. So let's see what happens. He's just done a 1:18.291, his fastest lap of the race as well for Coleman. So he's definitely going hell to leather. He's putting his right foot down, I can tell you that much. But now we've also got back markers coming into effect here as well. We've got the ninth place man, that's Provençali there in front of Wood.
Look, he'll sidestep. He won't, he's not fighting anyone. He will sidestep these guys.
Rick, you know, Ricky's not crazy, is he? Let's be real.
No, and he's the key factor for Ricky is Justin Davies is P10 and he's about 5.5 seconds behind Ricky. And the next car on road for Ricky is Alfonso Latella, who's 9 seconds up the road. So in theory, Ricky will take one look at this and go, I'm not fighting these guys. I can tuck in behind them and be fine here.
Yeah, well, Coleman's just made a mistake coming out of 7, and his gap's gone out to nearly a second at the moment as well. Coleman made the mistake coming out of 7. He ran wide, dipped tyres on, and as we know, with the grass depths that's been added, it can take a lot of time off you. And it took about 4 to 5 tenths of a second out of Coleman behind Wood. So he's got to go again, and he's only going to have, where are we at, 3:33. I think there's going to be 2 laps maybe at the most here, based on their 1:18.1. Yeah, maybe 2 laps at the most. He's going to have to get to do this. 3 laps, possibly.
Yeah, he's running out of time, and he's got to get there and get there very, very soon. Whether or not the tyres are gone, he's just driven all he can out of this thing, and the tyres are gone. Or the other thing that you can do, JP, sometimes is you overcharge the braking zones whilst you're fuel saving, and he's worn off those fronts. And for a Mercedes to wear off the fronts, that's danger zone territory.
But he's got to try and he's got it back 2 tenths. Fair play to Owen Coleman. He is closing it back up. He's driving the absolute wheels off that Mercedes, I'm not going to lie. He's doing a great job as we're going down now into 2 minutes, 40 seconds. Provençali's still there. Still there. This could be a defining moment. I'm surprised he didn't just lift the move over.
He's not in the way yet, but he will be very soon. The problem now is that dirty air is starting to take over. And this is the first time in a long time for Nick Wood he's had that dirty air effect. Track temp hits its coolest that we're likely to see in this race.
Come on, Rick. Look up.
Is he aware? He's just had a big old wiggle in turn 1 himself, so Rick's...
He's going to stop him in 2.
There it is.
Oh.
He's done well. He's actually done halfway well there.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Mark Foster, looking forward to watching the stream. Was a great race till my talent deserted you. Well, we can have a look and see how it deserted you here, Mark, as well. Unfortunately. It's coming out of 7 onto the curb. Torpedoed the wall.
Oh, that's a shit. Yeah, that's a huge hit.
Yeah. And that...
Unlucky Foz.
Look at that. When you got to do that, it's time to go. You know what I mean? Should that have been a safety car, Nathan? No, because he was against the wall, out the way, off the racing line. So, just pointing that out before you start shouting at me about that one.
Bear has been poked, I think. Are we due this? Yeah, this will be the final lap of the race as they come off of turn 4. White flags in the air. We're going to go 90 laps the duration, by the way, which is quite a distance. So for me, they needed to go 30 laps on each stint. They didn't do that here tonight. And that's why we've seen the splash and dash. No one tried it tonight. No one tried it. I tell you what, when Peter Baxter gets back, he'll have a look at this race and he'll be disappointed with a number of these guys. No one saw the window.
Is Pete going to look back there and go, well, they let the race flow?
He might take a different view. I mean, that's the benefit. Pete's great at outlining these sorts of things from a race control perspective. He sits in race control for the Logitech G Pro series, actually, top tier V8 supercars in Australia. And he actually has a current V8 supercar driver sitting as his driving standards observer, which is Thomas Randall on his offside. So his knowledgeability in terms of race control is unparalleled within Australia. Certainly. So, and the resources are available to him, but just like the resources are available for Nick Wood, it was close. This went to the wire. This was a phenomenal drive for both of these guys. Nothing should be taken away from either of them. And for the final time tonight, Nick Wood will roll out of 10A. He will roll out of 10B. He's going to make it to the line. He leads the championship, and he'll roll off one more race win from Road Atlanta. And as we've crested the halfway point of the season, it seems Nick Wood's championship to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things we can shout out as well is Latella should come through in that Challenger class, taking that victory. He's got a big old gap back to Justin Davies here as well, and it should be Latella's. Jeffrey's come over the line and finished 3rd in the elite class, so great job for Jeffrey there, and Grok got 4th in that Ferrari. Latella should wrap up the challengers. Justin Davies also as well should wrap that one up. I think Justin Davies is actually finished in 2nd, he has, so it is Latella in the challenger class that can come over the line and take that victory. So great job from him all at the same time.
That's important too, because Dean Hunt is his rival. Hunt leads the way in terms of the challenger standings at 728 points, and for him, he needed to mount a comeback and 6 spots in terms of points. Well, that's actually 7 spots in terms of points for Alfonso Latella as he's going to cross the line. That is really, really important for that challenger standings.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can never take away from the second class. Yeah, I know we focused a lot on the front, and we did focus on what was going on in the classes below that at the same time. But the challenger classes, they're just important. They're out there, they're fighting away, they're trying as hard as they can. But I tell you what we can do, let's bring you up the final results.
Mate, what a phenomenal race. It's going to be won this time by Nick Wood, who will finish at the front end of town. Owen Coleman's going to be his offsider here tonight, which will be one of his best finishes of the season. It's been a marred season for Coleman, but his return to form is phenomenal. Ben Jeffrey will be the 3rd of our drivers who will finish on the podium. It's going to be Twitchy Foot, followed by Riot Sim Racing, followed by Virtual Motorsport Mentor. 3 separate teams inside your top 3. Brendan Grosh will get a well-deserved 4th place, a strong finish for the only driver struggling. Oh, no, sorry, my apologies. Was in the Ferrari. I thought for a second he was in the Lamborghini. Jackson Pringle will be home next in the Mercedes. Alan Dawson, the 2nd of the Porsches. Jacob Hughes in 7th, making the 2-team Riot cars 6th and 7th. Alfonso Latella, your Challenger class winner in 8th. The last of the cars on the lead lap. From there on, it was Ricky Provenzali. Finish 1 lap down in the BMW, and Justin Davies sneaks inside the top 10 and 2nd place in terms of your challenger settings as well. That was a phenomenal drive there for Davies. He'll enjoy that. From there on back, it's going to be Dean Reddit, Leith McClimate, Richard Mayer, and Matt Keane all in the pro class, and Dean Hunt 3rd in your challenger settings. Martin Hallinan, phenomenal qualifying performance from Hallinan. Unfortunately, race pace was the issue. Matt Carrick and Matt Norris round out your top 18. Over the page will be Jesse McMenamin in 19th. 20th will be Andrew Dutch, who unfortunately that ailing Audi kept dropping further and further back. Chris Ruddle was the last of the cars 2 lap down. It will be Adrian Gretsch, followed by Luke Mackay and Simon Honey. Simon Honey was right up there in terms of class leadings, class championship standings for the Challenger class this season, and that will be a huge hurt to his points. Mike Foster won't finish the race. Will be the first of our retired cars all the way down in 25th. Only finished 9 laps off the lead. Didn't quite make the end of the race with that damage that moment we saw towards the tail end. Matthew Scholes, 12 laps down. Jepson, 16. Mellis, 16. John O'Kiley, Ruka Wester, Sean Bonicki, Joel Vitale, Damian Taylor, Jimmy Middleton, Jamie Stewart, Nigel Seedle, Darren Burgess, Trent Allen, Hayden Norris, and Tim Fugger. All the cars that took part there this evening. And I tell you what, JP, that was out-and-out raw racing. They went hard for 2 hours around Road Atlanta, and there'll be some guys out there that will be feeling that in the morning.
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing. When they're racing like they are, you know, it was great battles up front. It was touch and go what we were going to do with the fuel. It was touch and go that we thought there might be a splash and dash. Could have Coleman got closer? Could have Wood? I don't know. It was all going to be up in the arm. And I think the fact that the race has been great all the way through the field. Yes, we've had some incidents, and yes, I'm sure there will be debates for days about whether or not we should have saw safety cars. I personally don't think we should have done. They were out of the way. As far as I'm concerned, leave them, let them race. But going forward, I think they've done an amazing job here tonight. Whether or not drivers are going to cause a fuss, Scott, about it, that's going to be the thing.
Yeah, that'll be the key thing. Whether or not there'll be a change, there might be some, what do they call them? Some directives that get fed through. That's how you change things. You change your supplementary regulations. You change your technical directives to change the formula. And for Thompson Simsport as well, did notice something actually on that final lap. I just went back and had a look. Owen Coleman actually ran out of fuel coming down the hill to the start-finish line that last lap. He put just enough fuel in that car to see if he could have a crack at Nick Wood and get ahead of him. Wasn't to be.
It's a chance he's taken, though, isn't it? He had to try and do something. He had to, because I think he knew he was going to come out behind Nick Wood. But it's how he minimized it. Yeah, it was how he minimized the distance. And that was one of the chances he had to take. And he had to try it, and he tried it. Fair play to him.
Yep. Yeah, had a crack. Didn't come off. Didn't lose a spot. You can't complain. Owen Coleman and Nick Wood are actually kicking around in the Discord server, but I wonder if we can see if we can try and catch Ben Jeffrey start off with, which is actually not online at the moment. So we might have to start at the other end of town, JP. We'll start with with Nick Wood. Start things off.
Yeah, go for it. I'm trying to find him.
Hey, Nick. No, I just sent him to the wrong room. I have no idea where I just sent him. I sent him to the general chat, not to the broadcast channel. That might help. There he is. Nick, apologies for sending you on a wild trip through Discord space. You've eventually made it to the post-race room here, buddy. In terms of things, that was a tight race in terms of fuel.
Yeah, definitely. I was pretty much fuel saving the whole time. I was just speaking to Owen there. The BMW really likes to be driven at 95%, and so it makes it good on its tyres and good on fuel too.
Mate, in terms of things, ugliest nose on the grid, but it's doing job for you.
Yeah, exactly right.
How was the race there tonight? Obviously, you and Owen just went toe-to-toe just for 2 hours straight. It's effectively... they've moved to these days calling the endurance races effectively. They're a 24-hour sprint. That was a 2-hour sprint. There was nothing between you as that race progressed. Do you think there was a mistake from Owen there that got you the race lead after that first pit stop, or just you tacked that first pit lane entry hard? We couldn't find the time. We're going to be honest. We had a look, couldn't find it.
Yeah, no, maybe he was caught up with some traffic after he came out of the pits. I don't know, but. Yeah, I also had an extra lap on him, so yeah, that may have been it.
Mate, in terms of things, 3 races thus far, 1 step on the podium in terms of championship standings. You're continuing to extend that margin at the top of the tree now. We head to the final 2 rounds, and it will be the Hockenheimring and Suzuka. Front engine cars tend to struggle just a fraction at Suzuka, but for Hockenheim, it's all about getting that power down to get your overtakes done in the back end of the faster end of the circuit. What's the plan for there? Trim the car out on the wing or stack some wing on it and see how she goes?
Oh, I don't know yet. I'll have to have a wait and see on that one. Generally, I like to run more wing, just a bit safer, and yeah, lower wing tends to get a bit skatey for me.
All right, mate. Well, all things considered, congratulations on the round win. your opportunity to thank the sponsors and teammates that make it possible for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. For Twitchy Foot Racing, we've got a sponsor, Digital Race Engineer, Dre. They came on board a few months ago, and it's basically a replacement for Crew Chief. And yeah, it's a really, really good piece of software, and it really helps with the fueling and things like that. So have a look.
Well, congratulations here, Nick, and phenomenal job here tonight, mate. We'll let you go and celebrate with the boys.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Big thing for me out of that interview, P, is how softly spoken he is. Just really quiet, goes about his business quite quietly, all happy with it.
Yeah, there was. If I win a race like that, I would be woo, yay, come on. He just seems like Kimi Räikkönen, quite calm and collective, and yeah, I won. Well done. Yeah, it was good. I had a lap on him. I was going to beat him. I was going to beat him anyway. Yeah, you know.
Had it under control.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great out there. Just chill out. Different attitude. I haven't heard that one before. That's it. Normally you talk to race car drivers, they've either got something to say, they're annoyed with something, or something went really, really well and they want to talk about it. Yeah, interesting approach. I like it from Nick Wood. I expect that we're going to hear Owen Coleman complain about the sim racing weather, Owen, because you've always got something to complain about, and you and Jimmy don't agree on weather settings.
Nah, I think once I sort of got used to it, it was all right. So I think it was just nailing down a setup, because I was sort of jumping between setup and setup. So
a little bit in stream minds. Now, you come into the pit lane in that first stint with the race lead. What happened with that one? Did you just underdrive the pit lane entry on that first stop, or?
Yeah, I think so. Bit of a half-assed entry and then just a bit of an average exit. So yeah, when I come out, I saw I was a bit behind. I was like, oh, so I sort of had to put the foot down to try to catch up to him, and then yeah, just burnt through too much fuel trying to get up behind him again. So yeah, but never mind.
Mate,
roughly where I was hoping to finish anyway, and sort of in the top 3, 4.
You had us all sitting here on the edge of our seats going, will they, won't they, in terms of making it. That was the biggest game of fuel chicken I've seen in a very, very long time. Both of you guys in that final stint, it was about who could go slowly, quickest, effectively.
Yeah, like I was saying to Nick before, I gave him a bit of a free toe at the start, and then yeah, sort of tried to make up for it from then on. So I wasn't 100% sure if the white flag was going to come out on that last lap, so I was sort of still trying to fuel save, and then the white flag come out. But yeah, probably left it a bit late to actually try to put a bit of pressure on Nick. But no, he drove well, so well done to him.
Mate, in terms of things, it's not been the cleanest of seasons thus far compared to last season. We were just about there and thereabout in the hunt for race wins just about every time. So a little bit of a different round here from Road Atlanta, a little bit more comfort. Are we seeing a return to form for you?
I'm hoping so. I've just been trying to focus more on my driving and just trying to enjoy it more, and not trying to get caught up in too much stuff. So yeah, just taking it as it comes at the moment. So I think overall, besides the first round, I think my season's probably going a bit better than last. So sort of see how we go.
Mate, in terms of things, Mercedes compared to BMW, compared to the other cars around you, we've seen obviously thus far this season has been dominated by Porsches. Now the new Ferrari. Well, the Mercedes and the BMW are still kicking it.
Yeah, I think it's just because of how long they've been around. People sort of get used to how to drive them, whereas you get all the newer cars and you sort of might have to adjust your driving style to suit a certain type. So I just keep with the Merc. I feel comfortable in it. So yeah, I like driving it. I like the sound of it. So just don't quite have the feel.
You want to jump in here, JP, and say how much you respect that choice of the engine note?
Oh, man. it's that noise. Anyway, sorry. I'll sit back in my box in the background here, just listening to the Mercedes noise.
And finally, Owen, mate, phenomenal finish in P2 again. Opportunity floor is all yours to thank the sponsors to make it possible, brother.
Yeah, I'd obviously like to thank all the guys at Premiere, like Rick, James, Jimmy, and everyone else behind the scenes. Obviously, you guys in the control room, or in the broadcast, I should say. Leith in race control. Oh, God's sake. Lee in the race control. Obviously, Motorsport Hauler, right? Virtual Motorsport Mentor. Gaming Gear Direct, obviously, and Mark Hughes Foundation. Yeah.
Mate, congratulations here on another strong finish, and we'll see you again next time out from Hockenheim. Thank you very much for your time, Owen.
Cheers. Have a good one.
Well, JP, that was another cracking race in GT cars. We got to have a little bit of a podcast and debate about what we think of racing and everything that goes on in and around it in the middle of it. That was another good broadcasting night, all things considered.
Yeah, it's been fun, hasn't it, really? I think this is the thing for me. This obviously, it's Sunday morning for me, it's Sunday night for you guys, So, all in all, it's been a nice way to spend my Sunday morning. Oi, I'm not being rude. I'd rather be doing this than being dragged off food shopping with the wife. So, Hey.
Mate, I mean, you get to sit here, you get to watch this and commentate over it whilst having your morning coffee.
Exactly.
What more can you ask for from a Sunday morning?
Oh, I definitely needed it this morning, mate. I got home quite late last night. Didn't get into bed till late, and then the missus woke me up in a panic. She's like, "It's 8 o'clock, James. You've got work." I was like, "Whoa, babe, I've still got an hour. Let me sleep." Oh, all right.
Oh, daylight savings, of course. Yeah, daylight savings.
It killed me this morning because I was looking and I was like, hold on, the session's changed. It started at 9 a.m. and I was like, okay, so I've got till 9. I can get out of bed, potter around, come down, get set up, ready to go. And of course, the missus woke me up in a panic saying, "It's 8 o'clock, it's 8 o'clock. I was like, whoa, babe, the alarm's set for 9. Chill out. Let me sleep." So,
mate, she loves this sim racing business just as much as you do. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that will be the final note of the show. Thank you very much, James. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. We have to do this more often, by the way. I'm thoroughly enjoying the broadcasting with you. But for you, ladies and gentlemen at home, if you have liked what you've seen, you want to be a part of Premier Endurance Racing League, don't forget to jump on over to the Facebook page. Discord details are down below the stream as well. For now, it's going to be bye. In a couple of weeks' time, we'll bring you GT4 coverage live from the Hockenheim Ring, who will take on the shorter format Premier Endurance League series in the GT4s, who will stand on top of the table from that one. For now, it's going to be bye from James Parfitt, from Scott Rankin in the booth. It's been a lovely Sunday evening. Have a lovely one.